So I be scamming and shit like that, but we seen his arrest record, so we know he ain't no pedophile at least. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I beg to differ because I was there.
Hold on. Hold on. Are you gonna tell us that Sonetta's a pedophile, nigga?
Actual facts. Let me tell you something, yo. And it all came out with this polite shit. And like I said, I'm watching how they going at you. And I'm like, yo, tell the truth to shame the devil, man. That's the bottom line. And years ago, I'm just looking at that Tasha K arrest record. I'm looking at that arrest record and I'm looking at the dates. And as I look at the dates, I said, wait a minute. This is during the time when Frenchy was going out with a 15, 16-year-old girl when he was in his 30s. Let me say that again. And I'm from home.
Chill, bro. Chill.
I send you.
All right, peace and black power family. Welcome to another Sonetta TV House of Consciousness production. You already know what it is. This is your brother Sonetta. I am your host, and I'm bringing in another heavy hitter. You brothers and sisters better be ready. When we build this wall, this comedic wall, oh my God, ain't nothing stopping. We bringing in another young brother. He's a scholar. You one leave, 5 more come in. Reggie leave, 5 more come in. You know what I'm saying? Garfield leaves and turn his back on Kemet, 10 more come in. We already got Chris Harris. We bringing in another brother who is awesome, who is powerful. I would say I don't know, between him and Jabari, I would say they probably right here until I see the brother's work and ethic. And if he can handle the ring, getting in, or the battlefield, or whatever, anybody that come at him, if he can deal with that pressure, I think he can, because he's killing. And so without any further ado, I bring to you my brother, Shaka, in the building. What's up, Shaka? He runs the channel of Ma'at Forever. So if y'all are aware of that, make sure you go and subscribe to Ma'at Forever channel. Go over there and show some love for our brother. Peace and black power to you. Hotep. Shaka, what's happening, man? Unmute yourself.
Hotep Sen-E Sonetta,
Yeah.
Thank you for the invitation. I just want to greet the people as I usually do. Hotep Senu, Hena Senut, Iti, Ren Isha Kandugu Kemet. I hope you're doing well. Bonjour, Sak Passe, Mbote, all that good stuff.
Damn, don't y'all hear that? Don't that sound beautiful to your ears, man, right there? Just to hear him go in on that. I know he dealing with knowledge, man.
So I be scamming and shit like that, but we seen his arrest record, so we know he ain't no pedophile at least. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I beg to differ because I was there.
Hold on. Are you gonna tell us that Sonetta's a pedophile, nigga?
Actual facts. Let me tell you something, yo. And it all came out with this polite shit. And like I said, I'm watching how they going at you. And I'm like, yo, tell the truth to shame the devil, man. That's the bottom line. And years ago, I'm just looking at that Tasha K arrest record. I'm looking at that arrest record and I'm looking at the dates. And as I look at the dates, I said, wait a minute. This is during the time when Frenchy was going out with a 15, 16-year-old girl when he was in his 30s. Let me say that again. And I'm from home.
Chill, bro. Chill.
I send you my number, yo.
Chill. You can't call in.
You could call me up and we could go on the phone. We could do a FaceTime. We could do all that.
Bro, you can't call in. You can't. It's the climate in the community is too crazy to throw a smear campaign on a nigga like that.
Smear campaign. I got the girl name and everything. I know where the girl is at. She'll confirm it herself.
Whoa.
This is home. So you want to know why he protecting Polite? Because he defends what Polite do.
Hold on. So you saying that you know that Sonetta was 30 years old with a 15-year-old girl he was having sex with?
33. 33.
I don't know, family. What's the girl name then? Where's she from? Like, how do we know this is real?
Again, every man got to defend himself. So he getting at you, he throwing smear campaigns. This is on him. And like I said, I'll leave you my contact information if you ever want to get back at me. And when he get on the line with me, he know what it is. The girl name was Nikki. The girl name was Nikki. Ask him about Nikki from 150th Street. And what was he doing with Nikki?
Ask me no fucking questions about no fucking Nikki. Who is Nikki? You tell me. And if I knew it and then I tell you who she was, you wouldn't fucking know her.
Ask him that question. That's the question that needs to be asked. So that nigga's phone. And I used to see how we used to say all that shit on 125th Street. That was nothing but divide and conquer. All you did was put us against each other for 20 years. That's why we don't got shit. While you driving around in Mercedes-Benzes and all that shit through Harlem, we divided and conquered. For 20 years, we battling each other all day, every day. All year, every year, for 20 years. But again, you want to see what's in the dark comes to the light. With this shit with Polite now, the gloves are off. The gloves are off. Because we grown-ass men right now, we can't defend this in our community anymore. You gotta tell the truth to shame the devil. So I'm gonna leave you my contact information because I know people calling you.
Fuck? No, ain't nobody else calling in. Niggas is in shock. You just fucked up my whole show. What?
Yo, it's the truth.
What the fuck?
It's the truth. Quran, 150th. You know who I be.
Quran from 150th? 150th and what?
St. Nicholas.
Quran from 150th and St. Nicholas. And this and Nikki is from 150th and St. Nicholas too, or no?
All the same block. All the same block.
Wow.
We all lived in the same building.
Okay. Oh, so you lived in the building. So hold on. So let me, you know what? I don't even want to make jokes because it's so serious. But I was going to say, you sound like somebody who was trying to hit it and mad because one of the older niggas was hitting it. Because that's how it usually be. It be grown-ass, old-ass pervert niggas messing with the young niggas' girls.
Of course. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. The girl always used to say she had an older boyfriend. She had an older boyfriend. And the kid's like, yo, who? He used to sneak that girl in and out of his house, yo. When she was 15, 16, 17. I think he missed her for a year because he had one away to jail. Look at that arrest record. I'm talking about like 96, 97, somewhere in that area. I got to look at that record again. But he was in jail, and when he came home, he got right back to her. And she was like 17 at the time.
I said, have you recently addressed the latest rumors we heard?
Yeah, we did earlier.
Nepal, let me deal with that. What are you talking about?
Recently, we heard some crazy things from Ingy's page.
So you agree that they were just rumors, right? And not facts?
I'm trying to figure out.
No,
That's why I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking you. Was he dropping facts?
We didn't see any.
Hold on, sister. Let me answer you.
So I can't say that it's a fact.
Thank you. So I ain't got to address it, sister. Thank you. It's just comical stuff.
Huh?
It's just comical stuff, sister. I ain't got to address it. If it's not facts, if it's not coming with proof, but I'm surprised you ain't asked me about Solomon. He's in your neighborhood. He's out there with you, and we
talked about him before. We gonna expose the pedophiles. You know, yeah. I just wanted to make sure that you heard. So I was interested to know if you had anything to say.
No, no. That's just
because it's just crazy that people are shooting
people
out.
People are playing games with this.
Pedophiles.
Yeah, people playing games with it.
With no proof.
Yeah, and that's sad. That's what you should have asked him. Like, dude, where's your proof at? Can you show me something? You know, I need to take back.
Yeah, all he said was a little girl named Nikki, and that was about it.
And he can't show no proof, so you know I ain't got to address none of that.
Right.
I ain't gonna waste no time to make him think he got me scrambling. No, he ain't got me scrambling. For me to address that makes that nigga so proud and happy. He's watching right now, laughing. And for me to be up in here explaining that shit, he'd be Googling and laughing behind the screen.
He allegedly, then we leave that there, so that's done. But apparently the story is he started having sex with the girl when she was 15 years old. And what the brother was saying, I corroborated in questioning him after the show, because if you remember back, he said when Tasha K dropped his record, it triggered his memory. So Sonetta had went away to jail for a year, and this girl had stayed with him the whole time. Like while she was 16 years old, she didn't have no boyfriend because her quote unquote boyfriend was in jail, which was Sonetta. And then when Sonetta came home, he did a year. When he came home, they got right back together. So he was with this girl from the time that she was 15 to the time that she was 18 years old. And he was in his 30s. Her first name is Chanel. Her middle name is Nikki. I should have got the last name. But it's people that's available for conversation that want to deal with the subject matter. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure her name will eventually come out. But the girl's family all knows Sonetta, and apparently Sonetta's family, I think, is supposed to be familiar with the girl from the conversation I was having with the brother. Like, this wasn't a fly-by-night relationship. This was his girlfriend. You see what I'm saying? Like, this was his girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had a relationship for years. People that grew up in that neighborhood still remembers that when he was deep into his 30s, he was still chasing 14 and 15-year-old girls, and they remember his relationship with Nikki. So he shouldn't be discussing Solomon, Polite, or anybody, honestly. He should just be talking about his relationship with Nikki from 15 to 18 while he was in his 30s.
You don't know when niggas playing you? Niggas coming up with old shit now trying to see if they could try to get you?
Yeah, tell me what y'all think. Let me find the timestamp.
Stupid questions like that. Tell a nigga to show and prove. Other than that, y'all don't come at me with that stupid shit. You don't know when niggas playing you? Niggas coming up with old shit now trying to see if they can try to get you?
Did that sound like a confession right there? Hey, did anybody feel like that was a confession? Hold on. Listen to this. Listen to what I'm saying. He tell a person just boy, exactly.
Bro, listen. I don't even know who's over there watching that shit. But actually, you know what? That's a lie. I do. What's happening right now is there's a line in the sand, and the pedophiles and the pro-pedophiles. Remember when I said this is revealing who's pedophile and who's pro-pedophile? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these people have shit that they've been doing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people have shit that they've been doing, shit that they interested in. A lot of these niggas go on to vacations in Dominican Republic and Brazil and all these other places and be doing a lot of shit that if they was here in the States, them niggas would get killed for. You know what I'm saying? But these niggas going on vacation doing other goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? And niggas coming around thinking that because they got a little few dollars that they could get away with doing certain shit, that makes them somebody. It don't. See, I still come from a world where money don't determine who you are. It don't. Because you got a little control of a platform and niggas looking at you and you could put niggas in position like, bro, that shit don't mean nothing if you a slime ball. Period. So you over there having sex with little girls. Remember, I was saying that we needed to boycott Sonetta Page until he took polite videos down. At this point, I'm saying that we need to just boycott that page. Everybody needs to unsubscribe. The nigga's a pedophile. What are you doing now? And if he's not, let him break it down. Let him explain his relationship with Nikki, because he cannot deny his relationship with Nikki. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is a real thing that happened. That would be the same as Polite trying to deny Aminette. Polite can't deny he with Aminette no more than Sarnetta could deny that he was with Nikki for years. So let him explain that. Let him explain what he's doing with Nikki. He's 33, she's 15. And let me show you something, so you really know that this is a problem. He stayed in a relationship with her. He went to prison for a year and stayed in a relationship with her while he was in prison. And when he came home, he came right back to her. So that means that he thinks that that's okay. You see what I'm saying? Like, say for instance, we want to say the girl had a really big body and she looked grown, and he was out somewhere drunk and they hooked up for a one night stand and he didn't know. Okay, that's a situation that could be argued back and forth. I'm not saying yay, nay, or whatever. But you were with this girl since she's in junior high school, my nigga. To the time she's in high school. Guess who's going to jail tonight? What? Bro, stop doing videos on everything else and talk about you and Nikki over there, bro. Talk about you and Nikki. And be careful, because niggas in Harlem is now paying attention. So it's niggas that know about other things that's hitting me, sending me text messages and all that. And I'm ignoring a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, what I would like you to do is go out on a high note. This is a real message from me to you, Saab. You watching this video. Go out on a high note with some dignity, bro. Don't keep dragging this thing out where you keep losing dignity in front of us, bro. It's hurting me. A lot of these people that's watching, they don't really give a fuck about none of the people involved. It's hurting me to keep finding out more of these things that's making who you are in my mind diminish less and less and less into below nothingness. And it's a lot of people in the community that feel the same way, bro. And if you would have just stopped this shit, if you would have just stopped this polite shit so long ago, man, you could have saved this community so much fucking heartache, bro. And you still going, my nigga. You still pointing out other niggas instead of dealing with your man Polite. Now, let's look how fucking goofy this nigga saw look. All this research work, right? He doesn't realize that he's demonstrating to the entire community that he's capable of fully pulling up all the information on Brother Polite. But you're not doing anything but pulling up information on other people. Okay, so now we passed Brother Polite, bro. Now we're on Brother Sarnetta.
Sister Sacred Infinite, feel free to speak, sister.
Peace and blessings to you, Shaka, and peace and blessings to everyone on the panel and everyone in the chat. I just wanted to give my take on things as far as the gossip in the conscious community. What I want to say, Shaka, is it seems as if, when you shed light onto people's dirty, devilish things that you do, it seems like nobody wants to deal with it. I feel like these things, people should be put in the hot seat. We should be dealing with it as a conscious community, correcting it and say that we don't approve of it, instead of terming it gossip or, oh, that's old news. How can anything ever be old news when people are constantly being introduced to the conscious community? Everyone didn't arrive at the same time, and not only is it some of this stuff isn't old, some of this stuff is actually happening right now, and it is a conversation, even if it's tough, that needs to be had.
All right.
Were you accused of molesting your wife's niece, who is your niece through marriage?
I have no recollection of that. You would have to inform me of what you're talking about. I have no recollection of that.
Okay, I will be able to one day. So I have my third question. Captain Cesario, do you have a homie that's in prison right now for child molestation that you support financially?
Yes.
But I thought you were against child molestation and those that are molesters to children.
I am against child molestation and those that molest children.
So why are you supporting this person, but you speak ill against others that have a love for people that have been just accused of child molestation?
Okay, I'll answer your question very easily. When I was at both cases of both trials, the evidence that they had, they gave the brother a lie detector test, which he passed. They tested the sister for the young girl, rather, whether her hymen was broke because he was accused of molesting her. Her hymen was not broke. A hymen, for those that don't know, a hymen is something that they use to test to see if the woman's or the child's virginity has been broken or anything like that. There was information that she said that she gave, which she then retracted. So the first case that they did was thrown out. The second case, they did not want to answer to. The jury was hung on it, and the judge did not want to release them until they came up with an answer, and then they came up with a guilty verdict. So from observing the case, if he was guilty of the crime, I would in no way support the brother. But from the evidence of the case, from the testimonies of him as well as the individuals involved, he was not guilty, even though he was found guilty.
Wow, so he was not guilty even though he was found guilty, but you speak ill against someone else that is not guilty, but they say he was guilty. So I have a question. This brother that you support, does he have children?
Yes.
And if so, do you ever say to those children, you have a father that's a child molester?
No, I don't.
Well, why do you do that to others that have a love for Dr. Malachi Z. York Ill and you want his children of him being a quote-unquote so-called child molester, and you speak for supporting him?
The Prophet Semitic Allah burning down tells us was a black God represented by a black bull whose hide denoted his black skin.
Here's the picture that he showed on the screen. It's a deity El, the god El. Pay attention to the crown or the headdress, if you will. This is a picture from the front of the same statue, a little closer, and a little bit from the side here. Now, this headdress is actually the Atef crown. If you go on Webster's online dictionary, that's what it says. Atef is the specific feathered white crown of the Egyptian deity Osiris. It combines the head jet, the crown of Upper Egypt, with red ostrich feather for the Osiris cult. The Atef crown identifies Osiris in ancient Egyptian painting. If you go to Webster's dictionary, Merriam-Webster, it says Atef, hold on, a tall crown with a long feather on each side, shown in the art of ancient Upper Egypt as worn by Osiris. Okay? Here you can see Osar or Osiris with the Atef crown. This is from the papyrus of Nebket. It's actually in the Louvre Museum, and you can see me filming that papyrus on the video entitled Reality Check. Why black people ain't going nowhere. But you might as well put Afro Style Reality Check. It's going to come up. And in here, it's also from the Louvre Museum. You have Osiris in the middle with the Atef crown, and the description for it. If you go on the website of the Louvre Museum and you type Royal and Divine Triad, you can do a search and you will see they mention that he is actually wearing the Atef crown. Now, finally, you can compare the crowns. Okay, first you have the God of the Arabs Negroes, which first is El, but somehow, some way becomes Allah. But that's up to y'all. That's up to the doctor. And then you have the one that I showed you, Osiris. Then again, from the front, compared with another statue of Osiris, and then finally the same statue from another angle. Biblical King's Seal discovered in dump site. This is the royal seal of the King Hezekiah. And here we have an Ankh. And finally, last but not least, you need to see it to believe it. The God of the Bible. El slept in his own dung and urine. This is Ugaritic Narrative Poetry, page 195. And we also have this book here, the Masria in the Prophetic Literature, where it clearly says that El floundered in his own feces and urine.
We haven't brought closure to Karinga. We let him build a holiday. The same one who set up Black Panthers in ambushes at UCLA and other places. The same one who tortured his wife and another woman brutally, sticking bottles in their vagina, using electrical shocks, and the FBI saved him.
He has not atoned to the community for his attempt to destroy the Panther movement. He has not atoned for being a police informer. He has not atoned for the way he treated black women. And look now, the women he mistreated and mutilated were dark in complexion. The women in his harem are light in complexion. The number one woman is a Mexican with what seemed to be an Afro wig.
Since I've been a part of this conscious community, sexual misconduct has been condemned and vilified almost unanimously. We saw the rise and fall of Dr. York. We had Hebrew Israelite, the brother by the name of Mighty Hebrew. He was convicted, I think, twice for sexual behavior against minors. He was widely condemned by the Hebrew Israelite community, but apparently forgiven by the Israelites, because I see him all over the place right now on everybody's channel. Another brother by the name of Nazi Yashavel, another Israelite, also involved in sexual misconduct with a minor. We have no idea where this brother is, but he's been sheltered somewhere by an Israelite group.
I'm going to tell you why, because I'm an Israelite and Tazariak Israelite. And I think his doctrine is off compared to what we teach it. We both had the same mission, but he's telling the Israelites it's okay to mix race, right? He's telling that they got a doctrine saying that if a child reached a flower, they could be 15 or 9 years old, you can have sex with them.
Now, Sanetta, if you don't mind, you said that other people teach that you can have sex with a 9-year-old girl. Like, do you mind telling which other Hebrews or like organization teach that? Because you see, I'm not from New York, you know, so to me it's news, and I'd like to know when I go to New York with my daughter where I should avoid going. So if you don't mind, Sanetta, which other Hebrews or like organization teach that thing that GMS teach?
Well, there's a lot of Hebrew Israelite groups out there that that teach that. I'm not calling out no names or nothing like that. All I'm gonna tell you is that a lot of them teach that, brother. A lot of Hebrew Israelites teach that.
Can I ask you a question, Sanetta?
Yeah.
You said he's a pedophile. You were talking about Nazi, were you?
Yes.
Can you just Tell us what it is about. And you see, I'm not going to say, oh, you talk about people, you know, that's what everybody does.
No. This is different. Yashavel, you know, because the Hebrews would say anything about polite real quick. But they own man, Nasi Yashavel, ended up being a goddamn pedophile, having sex with one of his wife's daughters, man. And he got ran out of town.
How old was she, the girl?
I don't know.
Was she underage?
Reggie, do you remember that?
She was underage, and yeah, but you know, look,
and guess what? Hebrews tried to cover that shit up, but it was coming out so quick and hard.
We had those guys who've been convicted for sexual misconduct. Garfield Reed spoke about this. Yourself, you spoke about Nazi, and Garfield Reed said that Hebrew camps are sheltering Nazi. So. And you know, it's sensitive because I know he's your friend, but you know, Mighty Hebrew, several people have said that he was convicted for sexual misconduct, that he went to jail for that. He did. Well, oh well, okay, well, you know, so you'll confirm it, you know. So why
everybody know that he went to jail for that? Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that, you know what I'm saying? So obviously,
but Hebrews cover up for Hebrews. That's what they do.
All right. So
and they go on everybody's platform and none of them niggas say a damn thing. But if I talk to Polite on the phone, oh man, how the fuck? So I'm never talking to Polite. Nigga, get the hell out of my chat. I talk to who I want to talk to. Innocent, like you said, into proven guilty, man.
Yeah, he was not convicted yet. You know what I'm saying? So Garfield Reed didn't lie then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When he talked about and Garfield Reed said even twice he thinks. Some people said that the second time is because he did not sign.
Yeah, he got violated. He got violated the second time. Yes.
Yeah. So what does it mean he got violated?
Well, he had a violation. I don't know why, but they came back and locked him up again on a violation charge, something like that. But all them niggas been doing that shit for a long time. Hebrews been out there molesting people and all that shit for a long time, and it's always covered up by other Hebrew Israelites. The only way we'll find out about it if we looking and searching and we see it, oh shit, this pops up and we catch it, you know, and then they'll come out and say something about it because we got them.
Which we teach now is that when you go into the law in the ancient world, men, if they saw a woman that they like, they can grab the woman up and rape the woman, man. and we're going to read the scriptures. We're going to read the scriptures.
Yeah, the scripture answers it better.
That's scripture.
Deuteronomy 22 and 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, I'm sorry, verse 28. My bad. Verse 28. Yeah, verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed.
The word virgin, by the way, is a Hebrew word. Let me see if I remember. Bathwala. All right. Now, the prophecy of Mary, a virgin shall conceive. The word there, virgin, is ayalama, which means young woman of marriageable age. Gotcha. Virgin in here means bathwala, virgin, a woman that never been, hit, so to speak. Gotcha. Exactly.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, a dowry, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her, he may not put her away all his days.
Now, when you go back, and you know the Hebrew,
when you sound like prostitution now.
No, he grabbed the woman in the field. The word, no. He humbled it. He gave it to the father after the fact. The word humble, when you go into the Hebrew, the word humble is the word aina. Yep. When you look up the word aina, it means to force, to take by force, to arrest. So what does that word mean? Rape. Yeah. It means rape.
If somebody was to rape your grandbaby that's 12 years old, you will be all right with that, God forbid. You will be all right with that?
In the kingdom. I couldn't do nothing about it in the kingdom.
In the kingdom. Let me ask you a question, brother. Before this keeps going, we have to ask you a question. How many of your fathers here? Just be for real. If you're a father. Now, what if someone is overwhelmed by the spirit of the Most High God? and he reads your scripture and he take your daughter and he just rape your daughter, what do you say to that? If he live like you live, walk like you walk, talk like you talk, because y'all live amongst each other.
Yeah.
Y'all live amongst each other. So what happens when one of y'all feels so overwhelmed by the Spirit of God that when you see one of each other's daughters, you just grab her up? You gonna tell one of these brothers here, come on, you know the doctrine. You know how we get when you get.
Well, answer it.
We just told you that.
How would y'all respond?
In this time,
But if it did happen, But if it did happen, you would allow it to happen. Why? Because you go back to the scriptures.
You're supposed to be a brother.
Hold on. You're gonna allow one of your brothers to rape your daughter?
You say rape as if rape simply means to grab.
No. We talking about. Now we read the verse. Where someone was.
In the kingdom of heaven. Hey, look.
No. We read the verse, man.
When the kingdom is established, we're gonna get women when they 12 years old.
Right.
All right.
Say it again.
As soon as they start in the kingdom of heaven, when their period starts, that's when they become a woman.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna deal with them when their period starts.
Right.
When their monthly starts.
Question.
Have sex with them. Have babies, man.
With 12-year-olds.
Brother, there's in the kingdom we're gonna do that, man. We're gonna get them young. We're gonna get them young.
And the kingdom is
the kingdom is right here, but the Most High is gonna establish the kingdom. Right?
Can I say something?
Don't look up in Google women that were pregnant under the age of 12. You got a 9-year-old woman that were pregnant. You got 11-year-old that were pregnant. Yeah. As soon as they get their period, they become a woman.
When did Eve become a woman?
I said our leaders belong to us. They don't belong to him being Puerto Rican or even white. Why do ISUPK? Because you want to claim somebody to be your brother. Why is it okay for him to disrespect any of our leaders, no matter who they are?
Okay, I don't know what leaders you're talking about, but Kadazar or the Titan.
One of them, and he was
making Martin Luther King ain't shit. So I mean, I agree with him.
Well, even if you said it, even if you said it.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you. So Taino Indians, listen. Let me answer your question. Taino Indian
passed away. Everything changed. No, it took time for things to change. I know because
I don't want to talk about Martin Luther King, but Taino Indians are my brothers, just like Dominicans, like Sanetta is my brother, just like Haitians are my brother.
I'm African, brother. I'm African.
You Dominican, your daddy Dominican.
I'm African Dominican.
So if Sanetta's Dominican ass can be my brother and can talk about Martin Luther King, then Katazar's Puerto Rican ass can be my brother and talk about Martin Luther King.
But that makes you sound like a sucker.
So then can Sanetta as a Dominican talk about Martin Luther King? I'm asking you a question.
No, I say that Martin Luther King was a great guy. He was.
He said we can't talk about our leaders.
So Martin Luther King to me was a fearless. Captain. Martin Luther King was a fearless man, fearless black man. I think he was a great man, brother. He sacrificed his life for his people, regardless of which way he did it. So what? We ain't got to agree with him, but I think he was.
I don't want to focus on.
We don't want to switch.
I want to focus on Martin Luther King. But what I'm simply saying is,
you judge by your intentions anyway. His intentions were good for us.
The Bible don't say that. The Bible say he deserved death. But I don't want to talk about Martin Luther King.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. It said that dreamer. If that dreamer come, you want me to read it? You said it don't.
It's a whole bunch of.
You said the Bible. You said the Bible say it. So since you're talking about the Bible, let's go to Deuteronomy 13. It says, "If there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and give it thee a sign or a wonder."
Right, hold on, y'all. One at a time.
I thought she would respect the scripture. Deuteronomy 13:1. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and give it thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, Let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them, thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God proveth you to know whether ye love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Verse 5. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death. So don't tell me that what he did was of God when what he did was against God. But I don't want to talk about Martin Luther King. You asked about.
Okay.
Do you celebrate the death of Africans?
We about to in what capacity? Let me before I
Do you
answer.
celebrate the death of Africans? It's very clear. It's plain English.
Well, we got a Passover coming up, so that would be the death of the Egyptians.
Okay, but my question to you, and you
I
can
just
answer by
answered
yes
it.
or no.
I just answered it.
You said we have a Passover coming, and you mentioned the Egyptians. Right now, you're buying
Are
time. I know.
Egyptians? Are Egyptians? No, are Egyptians not Africans?
Are you celebrating
I'm
the death
asking
of
you a
Africans?
question. I just
You see,
said
brothers
we
and
have.
sisters, he doesn't want to answer because he knows it sounds bad. It sounds worse than MLK because MLK is one
I
guy.
think what I
And he was
just
talking
said
about the
is
whole
worse than
population.
saying death of Africans because those deaths are African babies. You know what the Passover is about? The Passover is about when he passed over the firstborn sons of the Israelites, but killed all the firstborn sons and animals of the Egyptians who are Africans. I'm not dodging your question. I'm just expounding on it.
Well, okay, can you answer by yes or no then? Do you celebrate the
Yes,
death of
I'm going
Africans?
to celebrate the Passover, which is about the death of Egyptians that were killing our babies. That's called
All right.
justice.
He doesn't want to answer the question
I said,
directly,
yeah.
but
Wait.
still
I
answered
said,
it.
wait. What are you talking about?
So can you state for the record, I celebrate the death of Africans then? Go ahead.
So first you wanted me to say yes or no. You didn't want me to expound. Then when I say yes, now you want me to say it another way. Are you so stuck on like you like an amateur? You're an amateur.
You can say that, but you're in your feelings right now. It's okay. You have the right
I'm
to
not
be
in my
emotional.
feelings, man. I done answered the same question twice.
Brother. What? Okay, that's what I was going to say. Say no more. I asked him if he celebrates the death of Africans, and he answered yes. So we heard it for the record. Cesaria, do you celebrate the death of Europeans?
I haven't seen a bunch of Europeans dead to celebrate it.
Do you celebrate the death of Europeans?
You would have to help me understand why you're asking that question.
Yes or no, please. Yes or no, please.
I will.
Like you were quick to answer yes when I asked you to celebrate the death of Africans. Now I'm asking you to celebrate the death of Europeans.
Okay,
that's
so now
twice.
I'm gonna. No, wait. So when you ask me about the death of
you support
Africans,
the death of Europeans. That's 3 times.
When you ask about the death of Africans, I referenced a actual holiday we have that celebrates.
Yeah,
listen is
just
art.
like him.
Okay, no.
To answer you,
to answer the
yes
question,
or no?
I'm just about to answer it. No. Now you may now I'm gonna say no, and then I'm gonna no sweat.
You're wrong. You don't know. Everybody on my circuit, they against the Israelites. We hate the Israelites. We can't stand their doctrine.
Okay. Microphone check 1 2. It works. Hotep Sinuela Senut Itiren Ishakandu Gukemet. I hope you're doing well. The title of this live stream is Paranoid Sanera Has Nightmares Because of Frenchy, the N-word in France. I'm sorry, the N-word from France. Every time, for those who didn't know, every time you hear him say Frenchy or the N-word from France or the French N-word, he's talking about me, Shakandugu Kemet. The name is written here. And of course, the account, the channel, the YouTube account is Ma'at Forever, all in one word. I'm going to play the clip, and thank you to that person who informed me. Now, every time the dude says something about me, even if he doesn't say my name, feel free to just share the link and the timestamp, But I'm just going to plug the cable because I have a feeling the quality may be slightly better. Hold on. Oh, I'm almost done. Click here. There it is. Okay. Whoa. Hold on. Okay. All right. So indeed, if you ever Some of you may not want to leave a comment. Some of you may worry about Sanetta and his OnlyFans moderators, twerking moderators, booty shaking moderators, seeing you and reporting you to Frenchy. Well, you can just send me an email. Oh. Make sure you copy and paste it. This will avoid any mistakes. Now, V. Bennett is in a place to be. He wrote, when we build this comedic wall, oh my God, Lord. Hotel to you. I thought you would respect the scriptures, Lord. You know, trying to use authority using the scriptures, you know what I'm saying? So I guess when those people, like you have heard, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 36, it says that it's okay when the girl passes the flower of her age. And no disrespect to the sisters who are of a certain age, but on SAR's platform, it seems that most of the ladies over there have long past the flower of their age. You know, the menopause don't hit, and it looks like they desperately need a man to the point where they are willing to cap for child molesters. Just saying. But Konat said this. They teach you can have sex with a girl as long as she has a period. She can be 15. She can be 9 years old.
I'm gonna tell you why, because I'm an Israelite and Tazariak Israelite, and I think his doctrine is off compared to what we teach it. We both had the same mission, but he's telling the Israelites it's okay to mix race, right? He's telling that they got a doctrine saying that if a child reached a flower, they could be 15 or 9 years old. You can have sex with them.
Okay,
This is what they
now
teach.
you talk about running.
Of course, I need to change the subject because he might have had some flashback about Nikki. He still hasn't answered about Nikki. I'm not the one who said it. Minister Enki said it. So Minister Enki said that Sanetta was 33 years old and Nikki was 15 years old when they were getting their groove on. So talking about the scripture, when they talk to these girls, and they can be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, then they say, I thought you would respect the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Dang. Now, Young Heru wrote, what's good, Shaka? What's good, Young Heru? What you talking about now? Only 2 a.m. over here. Everybody's still. Well, it is actually 7:46 right here. For those who don't know, I am in France. You see? So he meant everybody still asleep. Man, that flower dead. I don't mean, once again, I don't mean any disrespect towards sisters of a certain age, but you know, on one hand, we have the young ladies, you know, who are into OnlyFans. We've seen footage of some very young lady twerking. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what happens when you deal with, you know, the house of rape, the house of pedo, the house of clowns spelled with the K, the house of conscious mess. You know, you get them, you get them young, like the guy said from GMS. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get them young. Have you been at road? Nah, just joking. And on the other hand, you have those, you know, desperate black ex-wives, you know, capping, like, you know, they don't care on some Precious tip. You know the movie Precious? You know, I haven't seen the movie. I heard about it. I've watched I've seen a few parts from it, but you know, I was told that the mother of Precious lets her boyfriend sleep with her daughter. That's how desperate she is. So some grown woman in here capping for this convicted rapist, convicted child molesters. This is insane, man. I mean, it's really off the chain. So let's hear it now. Look at Pound. And you know what? I can't even do better because I have the clip. You see, I have the clip.
Or you could say AD. Today, historians use the term CE. But
Okay.
What you mean when you
Okay, so you do know the scriptures had already been written.
Brother,
Hey, hold on for 1 minute. Apostle. Was you talking about me the other day on Frenchy channel, talking crazy about me?
Frenchy, who's Frenchy?
The nigga from France.
Who is that?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
No, I don't know nobody from France channel.
In there saying you was talking crazy.
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Just let it go. Never mind. You didn't do it. All right, go ahead, Jabari.
So what I'm trying to explain to you.
Nothing. Just let it go. It's all right. He's the one who brought that up. Oh, Vivian says open the panel. All right. Okay. Okay. Link to it on the panel. Now, we can do this in real time. This is the link of the video regarding the aftermath of the of the debate between Chris MVP Harris and Tazi. So you have the link here, all right? So you can all go along with me. When you click on the link, you have this. Now you can go on timestamp. Timestamp 10:57. We're going to do that together. 10:57. Actually, I'm going to go on 10:50.
Way Food, c'est quoi exactement?
Another advert. Okay, so. Actually, I'm going 10:40. 10:40. Look at.
Common error.
Or you could say AD. Today, historians use the term CE.
Okay.
What do you mean when you
say so you do know the scriptures had already been written.
Hey, hold on for 1 minute. Hold on for 1 minute. Apostle.
And he put him on the
Was
on
you
the front
talking
street,
about
like,
me the other day on Frenchy channel, talking crazy about me?
Frenchy? Who's Frenchy?
The nigga from France.
Who is that?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
No, I don't know nobody from France channel.
In there saying you was talking crazy.
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Just let it go. Never mind. You didn't do it. All right, go ahead,
He's gonna
Jabari.
take something to drink to relieve himself. Like, you know, look at him.
Understanding what I'm saying. If the Kemetic language goes into disuse.
That's crazy. You see how we have grown men, even Jabari running. I wouldn't say Jabari was running. The question wasn't asked to Jabari. It was asked to the other guy. But, you know, now people like, he never said my name. If they'll ever seen here, you know what I'm saying? If it goes like that live, publicly, and the dude is way older, you know what I'm saying? So can you imagine in private? If I see any of you mofos on his channel, in the chat, or his panel, it's going to be yawn. I'm going to send some predators at you. I'm just joking. So, V. Bennett is in the place to be. Hotep, brother.
Good morning. Hotep, Shaka. Yeah, I almost started speaking Danish to you, man. Say good morning. Yeah, I say good morning, man. Yeah, man, you got him shook. You got him shook, man. Oh my goodness, man. He don't know up from down anymore. Never mind. Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right.
Dudes is like, what the heck? What are you talking about? And now they really like, oh, I better go find Mr. Frenchy now. Who is he talking about? Oh my goodness, man. I really didn't. Sometimes you don't believe things. I don't know. I mean, see, I get it, but I just get shocked every time. More of it. It just shows that you got, for some reason, he doesn't get it, man. He's shook about you, but that's not even the point. He's like, Mr. Frenchy coming after me. Mr. Frenchy coming after me. Dog, it ain't you. It's not even you. It's you keep putting yourself inside of all of that. It's not even about you. It's the behavior. And he missing the whole point, Shaka. So he's like, Mr. Frenchy. Yo, brother, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign, man. He's taking it in the wrong way, man. He's taking it in the wrong way. He can't see the forest from the trees. And
Yeah, I mean,
that's not a good sign, I don't think at all. I don't think that to me, I don't understand it. You know, who gets that scared if you ain't up to nothing, if you ain't do nothing, if your hands ain't dirty, if you don't have blood on your hands, who panics like that?
well, it's about Nikki because see, first it was about people who invites on a regular basis. So we have Polite, who has been charged. Yeah, he didn't have his day in court yet, but the problem is that we all know that Sa has accused Polite of being a child molester because he called him Baby York, Dr. York. On my channel, I've played several times when he said that he was exposing Polite. But because people said he was jealous, he's like, okay, obviously he lost subscribers, he lost money. So he figured, okay, he's not going to criticize child molesters again. You know what I'm saying? Then we have the Mighty Hebrew. We have seen his record. Actually, I'm going to address him because there's some similarity with Malachi York, you know. And then we, of course, have ISUPK who have actively and financially supported their member who was convicted for child molestation. So that's three different people, you know what I'm saying, that has something to do with that mess, either actively doing the raping of children or supporting people who were convicted for raping children. And now he's playing the victim. And of course, now we found out, hey, we have Sister RP in the place to be Hotep Seneti. Um, we have the Nikki, 15-year-old Nikki, when Sa was 30 years old, according to Enki. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he felt like, well, he might find out. You know, he knows some people. Eventually, I don't know, but that's on him. You know. And the funny thing with that clip that I played is that he's almost acting like it's the guy, the Hebrew guy, who's bugging about it. Like, it's all right, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? But so people know how to get him shook even more. All the victims who don't want to speak out. You see. I
And you know
I know
what?
how it must feel to see these guys on the panel knowing what they've done to you or some of the people that some of your loved ones are. You know how to do. You know what to do. You know what I'm saying? You can just go in the chat and say, "Oh, that guy, yeah, it was on his channel. He was on his chat." But feel free, if you
And you
bet
know what? Oh yeah, you got to use that. You got to use this part in your intro. It's got to come right after the intro you're using now, and then throw in that, Mr. Frenchy. Nah, man, no, we'll talk about it, man. Was you talking about it? Nah, hey, look, that's not even cutting. He got two different sides of the coin right there in just a 10-second, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. You know, but but but
I've got the
but
clip. I will use it without moderation, definitely.
exactly. And you know what? Then Jabari, he actually tried. See, this is the thing, man. You try to help somebody. You don't want to go, man. It's past that point. Don't help. Don't give your presence to this brother's platform no more because you know the reality of it is that other people have been watching. That's the reality of it. So your rep just to get a rep, right? Go back to that guru song, right? Gangstar, just what people do to get a rep. That's what this is about. Your rep is going to go. You're now at a point of no return. See, so you really anybody who's serious on that platform, you heard what this is about. You know this is about pedophilia and rape. You know this is about the destruction of our community happening in our faces, right? You know that there's a march coming up and people getting down there in New York that we got to find out who's down with supporting this march and this effort to get these pedophiles off the street or not. When you continue to support a platform that does not clearly clean that up, you're now in the category of that song, Guru and Gangstar, what people do just to get a rep. It doesn't matter who it is. So, Jabari, if you listening, man, don't stop trying to help this brother because you better pay attention to yourself now. Pay attention to yourself. You know, me, if I even had I've been studying this stuff for a long time. By the way, as just a person who loves history, person who loves world history, a person who loves African history, and I don't see a conflict in any of those things. I respect Jabari's knowledge of history and Kemet. You know, I respect it like many others, but this is not about your knowledge of Kemet no more because you can do no good on that channel. You see, so I hope he's listening and just take the advice. All of us can take some advice sometimes. All of us should give some advice sometimes, no matter who we are. You know, so I hope he's listening to it. You heard him try to cut him off. He tried to say, "Hey, but back to the question." But see, they ain't gonna have it, brother. They won't get back to that question. There won't be any focus on a comedic history. There won't be any real debate there on that channel, brother. And that's my advice to anybody else. That was my advice to Chris Harris too. Don't. If you could avoid it, if you could avoid it, it's not about your scholarship, man. It's about your ethics. It's about your morality as a human being now. That's what it's about. You see? And brotherhood cannot escape that. Sisterhood cannot escape that dynamic. You see? So don't get so caught up in the debate that you don't see the forest from the trees.
I feel you, brother. You know, I think eventually they may hear your message, and it's on them. You know, it's on them. I appreciate them. You know, but
Hey, and that's advice coming from a 50-year-old man that knows a lot of scholars myself. Who I don't just wear their name around. I'm talking about personally, worked with them. See, you know, in reality, for the community, I don't wear their names on my shoulder. I'm not cheap like that. They're not cheap like that. So I hope they listening, man. I hope they listen.
and you see, RP was asking, is anyone pondering solutions to this problem? And then I told her yes. He was one of a few solutions, and I gave her the link to Hip Hop Stands with Survivors.com. And he also I shared the link to the report about sex trafficking, and she said dua means thanks in the Medunecher. And she wrote, I'm so glad I never really started watching that channel ever. So indeed, like V. Bennett said, there was a scheduled march. I'm oh, sorry, let's say protest on March 27, if I'm not mistaken. But let's double check that. Yes, March 27 in New York. You see, you have the details on that website. And I'm actually going to show you a thing or two about Layla wheels. You know, still regarding child molestation. So um, the first thing is this. You do have the cold summary of the mighty Hebrew. And you will see something very similar with Dr. York or Malachi York. I like to say Malachi York, but you know, most here, that's a cold summary. So we know there's 6 charges that he was found guilty of: rape, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, aggravated indecent assault, sagittarial rape, indecent assault, corrupting minor. And here we have his aliases. We have 7 aliases, right? Now check this out. With Dr. York, I have it there, so I need to change. Dr. York, you have this here. Has something to do with his arrest, and you will hear what his arrest was about. And around here, hold on, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see the cursor. Around here, we have aliases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 aliases. So those techniques seems like they go way back. See? Now I want you to hear these, brothers and sisters. I'm going to share the link in the chat. Is our brother Chuck Morgan is actually a supporter of this channel, and he's been interviewed by Layla Wheels. The title is long: Trapped in the Culture, Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation, Part 13 of 44. Chuck Morgan, Malachi York. I want you to hear this part. So let me share. Sure, I get the. I want you to listen up.
As Waki, um, when you back in the 1960s, there's a little bit of a controversy because the talking point.
The one I want you to hear. Oh, it's that one. Sorry, my bad.
When you back in the 1960s, there's a little bit of a controversy because the talking point within the organization is that he was teaching throughout the 60s. But we know from his own bio that he wrote in a book called Rebuttal to the Slanderers, Ansar Cult, Rebuttal to the Slanderers, which was put together as a rebuttal to a book that was written by a Muslim named Bilal Phillips, who pretty much exposed the organization and gave insight that had not previously been known or documented in the public square. So what we do know is that shortly after his time in prison, when he was paroled in around 68, he started to more or less use a hustle, which was the religion of Islam, because it was something that was rising. Of course, the Nation of Islam was prominent at that time. Because he was considered a career criminal or a petty thief as a petty criminal in New York. One of the avenues that he chose was Islam, and we know this based on his own words. Years later, after Bilal Phillips' book came out, he then broke away from Islam, and then even wrote books attacking Islam, and even put an audio where he taught us. And then it was also released to the public, who says why we used Islam. He said, I needed to develop a cult. His words, I needed to develop, I'm just paraphrasing, but he does use the word cult. I needed to develop a cult which would keep the Christians away. It would keep the Hebrew Israelites away. It would keep the Muslims away. And I needed a symbol. And the symbol that he chose, he said it would be a 6-pointed star, crescent, and an ankh. And call it the Nubian Islamic Hebrews.
Okay, hold on.
That's where it started.
Before we go too far down that road, I wanted you to tell us about some of the charges that he was charged with in the 60s.
Okay.
And I was fooling around.
If you can pull it up.
Yeah, I'm getting to it.
As a matter of fact, let me see.
I just have so many screens up. Can you see? Okay, here we go. So we have on January 7, 1964, unlawful entry in Kings County. 1964 in June, rape in the 3rd degree.
Mm-hmm. That was with that would involve a 16-year-old when he was 18, and it was considered a statutory rape. As a matter of fact, it was the date of charge. It was July 1st, 1964. He was 18. It was it was one charge. It was unlawful entry. And then the 1964, it was June 25th, the day before his birthday, where it was rape in the 3rd degree. And he was convicted on July 10th, and sentence was suspended, and he was placed on probation.
Do we know the circumstances of that case? Sorry to interrupt you. Do we know the age of the victim in that case?
The person was, according to the pre-sentencing investigation report, she was 16. As a matter of fact, the defendant's criminal history, juvenile adjudications, we have here. So it says here in the pre-sentencing investigation that the defendant reported that he was represented by counsel. The circumstances of the offense could not be obtained. However, it is noted that the defendant related and his sister, Dale Brown, confirmed that the defendant was arrested and charged for having sexual contact with his minor girlfriend, who was reported to be approximately 16 years of age.
And York would have been approximately what age in 19?
He was 18 at the time.
Okay, she was 16 and he was 18.
Yeah.
Okay, and it says that he got 30 days in jail.
Is that one for the statutory rape?
July 7th.
Yeah.
So I wanted you all to hear that part. And there's going to be another clip that I'm going to play. Back in the days, it was cool for child molesters. 30 days in jail. Time's different now. People are more nervous, you know. So I never heard before about Bilal Phillips' book regarding the Nubians. And I've actually sent an email to Chuck Morgan. If anybody knows if the book is available on PDF format, then feel free to let me know. But for the record, uh, the book is called The Ansar Cult in America. I don't think it will be on Amazon. Most of the time, it would say, most places it would say that it is no longer available. You do have a link on Amazon, but I saw a website where they were selling it for $100. I never knew that after that book came out, that's when Malachi Yo decided to, no longer deal with Islam. Chuck Morgan said that there's an audio where Malachi York explained that he wanted to get away from Islam, and he uses different, the Ankh and the six-pointed star and the crescent as a symbol. Now, myself, I have heard Malachi York explaining why he dealt with so many religions. Somebody asked him a question, and then he replied, "Okay, I did that." He was basically telling people. I'm paraphrasing as well, but he was saying that he needed to deal with that, to get our people and break it down for them, and show them blah blah blah. Basically, he was just making an excuse, So this is the title of the book, and this is the author, "The Ansar Cult in America," by Dr. Abu Amina Bilal Phillips. Most of the time, people simply call him Bilal Phillips. He's from Jamaica. Well, he's from the West Indies, but I think if I'm not mistaken, I read that he was from Jamaica. So that's quite interesting to me.
Everything,
Mhm.
everything that Chuck Morgan says, because I saw that. I'm not sure if I was even watching that one live or not, man. But I saw that, and he mentions, he was down there in DC too, selling go-go tapes. They used to copy go-go tapes, and
What's
if you
go-go
don't know
tape?
what go-go is, go-go is like this music that DC is known for. We got our own music there, and it's like a cousin. It's like when rap started, go-go also started, and in the beginning you couldn't really tell the two apart. But go-go is the live version of it, and rap is like hip hop. Rap music is like the condensed studio version. They splintered off, right? So go-go has like all the things you would hear from South American instrumentation from South America, Caribbean nations, rototons, congos, and all of that stuff blended into rhythm and blues, right? And obviously rap comes from rhythm and blues. It comes from rhythm and
R&B.
blues, right? Rapping
R&B,
about,
yeah.
and so go-go is like 50 years old now, in DC. So these brothers, they have their own industry there, where you might have 5 or 6 or 7 go-go bands that play every week. And so when you count that up, every time they play, they record their own CDs or tapes in those days, because it's a live PA board. They would do the live recordings, and they sell those tapes. Well, Chuck Morgan and them, they used to get in there because they knew go-go was the popular thing in DC. So they would get some of those tapes and copy them and sell them on the street too, right? So really, that's stealing. That's copyright infringement, really, because they control that industry there. And go-go, it requires a live band. That's why it didn't expand outside of DC, because you can't copy it so easily. You can't just take it in the studio and re-perform it that way. They do it, but some organization like the record industry wouldn't want to do that, because they have to pay more people, obviously, So they went the condensed route. And but go-go, if you never heard it, it's the livest shit you ever gonna hear in terms of American music.
I put
And a
it up
lot of the
there, so
rappers like
I check it out
Rock
after the
the
stream.
Bells. Yeah, all the early rappers used to sample go-go beats. So that's where you get all that rock the bells, boom, 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 and you get like all of them used to do it. You see what I mean? When you get pump, 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 pump me up, do, dooka, 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 doo.
Pump it up.
They got two versions. They got the go-go version, which was the original with rappers on it, and then you have the Sugar Hill Gang version. We're not to get off topic, and you can't really tell them apart unless you know who Melly Mel is. Then you're gonna be like, oh, okay, this is the Sugar Hill version. But outside of that, the song is the same, right? But getting back to the point, you know, that whole thing with Chuck Morgan is deep. Listen to it because he's breaking down a lot more things and some of the tragic elements in there, man. It's so deep, man. Enough can't be. You can't overstate the harm that Dr. York or his consorts did. You know, because a lot of people think he was set up, but let's just keep it straight. What Chuck Morgan describes is horrific rape, horrific separation of kids from parents. That's what they were doing. They separated them. You can, you know, man, it is so devious, man. It's the ugliest thing a person can imagine. And why someone would want to copy or emulate that can only mean bad. It can only mean sickness, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely going to listen to this go-go music. I have the tab open, so after the stream I will check it out. Thank you for that. I didn't even know that.
Oh,
And
yeah, they still make it today. It's live as hell. It's live. It's basically raw, uncut party music with African drumming. That's
yeah,
what it is.
I'm definitely going
Yeah.
to check it out. And I'm on the
This is
8th
why they
minute.
don't like us DC dudes, because they know when that go-go get in our brain, you know, we start hearing them drums when there's a problem too. You see, that's really what it is. You know,
What what do you mean when there's a problem?
Well, you know, you just listen to go-go and kick back and have a few pints of liquor, and you find out, you know, cats be the type of drumming that they use, first of all, might invoke something. You know, these types of drums, they getting them from somewhere. They playing them differently, but these patterns mean something. You see the pattern, and they're invoking some kind of African. It only does it in African people because, you know, that's our groove thing, basically those drums.
Mhm.
So yeah, and it also separates us because we don't be giving a damn, to be quite honest with you, what other people think, because we got our own culture, our own music, and then on top of that, DC has a long history of crime, you know, through segregation. You know, crime was the way the Black community could come up because we're the first generation. This generation I came out of is the first generation to come out of an unsegregated city. So, but DC had crime from the beginning. It was a crime. It's a crime city, though. Even the white boys was down with crime. Prohibition was there. All of that shit was there. And the only way Black people could even get a lick or something was really through the numbers in the beginning and all their criminal things. That's what really created the boom for the Black community in DC. And so all that just progressed. So it's hard to separate the two. It's hard to separate the two because they are real. That was a real element in the boom of the Black community. The only difference was that our schools, when we were allowed to have our own schools, you know, we had one of the first Black universities. So they were pumping out professors out of that university and educators out of that university, like Howard University. At that time it was called Freedman's, right? Something like that, right? Yeah, and so those professors they couldn't teach in the white schools. So where did they teach? They taught in the Black public schools in DC, a lot of them. And so they were very proud. And so they didn't see themselves as just like being a teacher. Oh, I'm just going to school for this chat. No, they saw themselves as like, I'm going to teach these kids everything possible. You know, so if you know people from the last generation, like my pop's generation, they was in high school learning how to make bombs. You know, like they weren't stupid. They weren't stupid. You know, they were taking advantage of the education that they could get. You see, and in some kind of strange way, segregation may have, you know, because DC was the capital, so they wasn't starving necessarily. You see what I mean? So when you add those same components together, like segregation, proud black educators, proud black industry, you know what I mean? And these kind of things, that when you put those things together, they could also equal a lot of power, you know, and pride. But yeah, so to keep a long story short. But there's another element about Chuck being down there. Well, go ahead, man. I don't want to stop you. Something popped in my mind, but go
No, no,
ahead.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You have time. Go ahead.
Well, I was just it was something else about what they was doing down there in DC, but it's not so important. But it is ironic. He will tell you, if you listen to that interview, he would tell you
Yeah.
that's how
Okay.
they could get in, selling them go-go tapes. Listen, this is what he said. They wouldn't have made no money without selling those go-go tapes. They would not be able to exist. And that was a big, selling them go-go tapes, stealing them go-go tapes and selling them. That was a big reason why they wanted them to stay in DC, because that could finance other stuff, man. It's not like they was making a lot of money in that thing, you know, in that organization. And so Chuck was a winner for them because he was selling those tapes. A lot of other people were struggling in that, but Chuck wasn't living like that because he was the big bank winner. He was the breadwinner with them go-go tapes, man. So when he was going back to the temple, he was coming back like, you know, like the man. And the other people was like coming back like, damn, how do we put two pennies together? Type of thing, you know? So yeah, that was it.
And it's funny because there's some things that have been happening a long time ago, and it's repeating itself because Frankie Sanetta is known for having bootleg many DVDs, you know. So there's a similarity in there. Now,
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Absolutely, man.
yeah, and there's one thing you said. Oh yeah, DC. Um, we have the movie Paid in Full, produced by Damon Dash. We have Mickey Pfeiffer. We have I think his name is Wood Harris, the guy who plays a coach in Creed, and we have
Wood
Cameron.
Harris.
Yes, Wood Harris.
He from Chicago.
Yeah, but he plays Ace. You know, basically the story of rich.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. Well,
And in that
Alpo.
movie, yeah, Alpo indeed. In that
Right.
movie, we see Alpo saying, "Hey, we have to move to DC." You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
we have audio
And you know what they
recording.
did? You know what they did? Even the actor Cameron, he came down to DC, and Alpo was so hated in DC, they tried to shoot and kill his ass. Just the actor alone. Really?
So that Lamborghini stuff, he was in DC.
The what?
That Cameron was like in his car. I think it was a Lamborghini, but
Cameron? Yes,
yeah.
that was in the yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's
Because
somewhere in the sphere where Alpo. Well, if it wasn't DC, it was just right outside the DC line, like probably PG, which is
yeah,
the
because
same thing, really.
you know
PG.
there's Mano's song Rumors, and he says, I forgot the exact line, but it says, I heard Cameron whatever, but then he said, but I heard it wasn't true. I ain't gonna spray that on dude, but the street said Freaky Z snitch on dude. But what did he say? Hold on, let me see. Let me put the lyrics. Mano, Rumors, and lyrics. So if I put Cameron, Bug said Cameron after round and got robbed in Cali. No, that's Cali. This is not different. It's different. But okay. But we heard that Cameron got shot at, what I'm saying, when he was in his car or something like that. And I think Cameron said that he said, "Oh, I saw the guy throw the rock sign." So people were alleging that maybe Jay-Z has something to do with it.
Nah.
Yeah.
Everybody know. Everybody know. It's like people so crazy about Alpo, man. They may not even been able to. They might have just. Well, first of all, where Cameron from? Harlem. Where Alpo from? Harlem. And one of the dudes. The reality of it is that Alpo snitched. I mean, Alpo is obviously a dude selling drugs, and he snitched on the people that helped him sell those drugs.
Wayne
And
Perry, right?
Wayne Perry and a whole lot of, and so basically anybody, because he was gonna, he snitched on all them dudes, and obviously he wouldn't have been in DC if those dudes wasn't allowing him in there, helping him. And Alpo, he was the source of a lot of violence and chaos that that existed there. And you know, so, and not just him, it's like you got the Shower Posse, and then you got these cats like Alpo that used to come there. And them DC cats, the way they doing it is like, way they was doing it is like they controlling the vast majority of it. So they don't mind if you got some cats on the edges. They don't mind if you coming in there doing a little bit. They might even allow it, right? That's how they roll. They might even allow it if you follow the rules. But the moment you don't start following the rules, obviously you start being hated. But Alpo, he was doing his thing, but he was protected by Wayne Perry and his psycho crew. I shouldn't even say that, but he had some young killers with him, and they was protecting him. So nobody was gonna go against Wayne. They was gonna let Wayne do his thing with that, and just as long as it stay in the pocket. But the problem is that all that, the way Alpo was doing things, you can't keep nothing like that in the pocket, because it's all about chaos. And you know that chaos is not going to make you no money. And the cast is making the money. They don't want that chaos. They don't want it, but because they got it good the way it is already. They already organized. They already have it broken up into pieces, and then he just went there and just brought chaos through there. But it's a lot of people that think Alpo was a snitch, was a cop from the beginning, designed to create. AZ said that. AZ said that.
Yeah, I mean,
his own boy said that.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but, I mean, the
I don't know.
Like like in the movie, when Cameron said, "I laid the murder game down, let brothers know we're not effing around." I mean, Apple really laid that murder game down. Like you said, chaos. He was chaotic.
Oh no, he didn't lay it down in DC, but the cats protecting him did for him in DC.
Yeah, and there's one guy, I don't know if it's Wayne Perry, but there's a documentary, and this one guy really like murked so many people, and he ended up snitching on them.
It's Wayne Perry.
Yeah, it's Wayne Perry.
No, Wayne Perry's in jail because of him. Basically, he's in for jail in life. Which, don't get it wrong, I'm not trying to talk about none of them. They could all talk for themselves, and they all do. But from the outside, because I'm not involved with Wayne Perry, so I will say that from the outside, is pretty much what I'm saying. From the outside, everybody knows that he's in jail pretty much because of Alpo, for the rest of his life. And obviously, them DC dudes, no matter what you think about them and no matter what it is, just that fact that Wayne Perry was snitched on by Alpo, they ain't never going to accept it. Obviously, they're just never going to accept it, because that's not how they do that. The way they do it is, what you was doing, you do your time, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? You don't start snitching on cats. So,
And who knows?
they ain't never going to accept snitching.
Maybe it was some DC cats who finally got Apple. But the thing is that I heard Apple.
Some New York young kid. Some New York young kid.
But how do we know? How do we know where they're from?
Yeah, you don't really know. I put it to you like this. If it wasn't the New York young kid, then it could be somebody. It could be, because that's how hated he is.
Yeah.
But it definitely he hated in New York. So
yeah. Or maybe it was some people cool with Rich Porter, what I'm saying? But the thing is that I heard some audio interview when I think he was still in jail. I'm not talking about Apple. And he kept going on about how thorough, how murderous DC was. And he said, I quote, "I had to send brothers back to New York, to Harlem." He said, "I sent some brothers, they were not ready for DC." You know what I'm saying? And this is Apo saying that. And Apo, I mean, he was bananas, He was bananas, but he really put an emphasis of how I remember he said in the club somebody got shot, and I forgot if the guy was actually killed or just shot out. But the guy was shot just for stepping on somebody's shoes, man. He said that's how bad DC was. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. If you step on somebody's shoes down there, all you got to do is say, "Excuse me." But the moment you don't say "excuse me," they're gonna look at it like, possibly like, "Oh, okay." And then if you somebody that got some sort of, you doing some things and they letting you do some things down there, and then you step on one of the oh, nah, that ain't good. I mean, it ain't even a matter of they want to be like that. It's just the environment is like that, so they ain't gonna be having it. They're gonna look at that as something else, and but I mean, I would say myself, I wouldn't trust nothing Alpo say, That's how I'll put it out there. I wouldn't trust nothing he say about what he was doing, because if you listen to his tapes, there's one common thread. He always make himself look like the good guy in
Yeah,
anything that he
yeah.
do, and
That's it.
everybody else is always right. So some of that stuff you can't trust, and I would
Yeah,
say it's one
that's in
thing
his mind.
where he tried to implement a DC dude in the murder of Porter with him. He tried to implicate him, but there's no evidence to prove that DC guy was there. And I would tell you flat out, that's not typical for a DC dude to involve himself directly in something in New York. Not because see, they wouldn't cross the real dudes that's doing this kind of stuff. They don't cross the line like that. They don't do that. They don't have no need to do that. And so there's no secondhand knowledge of this guy being with him. So you can't really trust that. You see what I mean? There's never been nobody to corroborate that story. They call him Big Head Gary. You see what I mean? And if you just know about him, it just don't even make no sense at all. Even the description of how he killed Alpo, it doesn't really make it. It sounds more like he's trying to make him like he don't really want to tell you it because he know it's so foul that he can't tell like it what it is. He's gonna make something else. So that's how I look at it. Like,
You mean
don't
how he
trust him.
killed Rich? You said how he killed Apple, but you meant to say
Yeah,
how he
and how he came to be involved in anything else there. Like he always make himself seem like the good guy, or just not seem so horrible. But nah, man, you got all these people killed, dude. Always for money. You know, a lot of cats would tell you if they really doing it like that, the first thing they do is they ain't sweating the money. If you mess up, all they got to do is turn their back on you. That's all they got to do. Now, where it gets into the other thing is where the disrespect is. You know, that's where it is. Most of them cats would tell you that they ain't the money, man. You mess up, oh man, they can find a new person to fix that one. They got more cats wanting to make some money, so they ain't trying to do that. You know, it's where the disrespect. That's where the problems come. And most of them cats down there in DC, they not going to tolerate the disrespect for what they don't even have to. So why would they? You know, it's like it's a pipeline, a prison to the street pipeline in DC is centuries old.
Yeah.
That's the problem because it's a federal city. So they think a little different about their crime.
Yeah, and I saw the video where Apple is describing how Rich was killed, and he did say indeed that there was another guy, but I kind of did not catch the fact that that guy was allegedly from DC, and it was strange because he was newly released and he sounded like a trailer for some sort of documentary or something, and then he explained that first, they shot Rich and they put him in a trunk. And then when they opened the trunk, he was still alive. And then, they finished him before burying him or putting his body somewhere in the woods or in the bush. I forgot exactly. And but I remember also, it goes along what you were saying about him trying to always making himself look like a good guy. He was in prison and he had an interview. And the person asked him, "Do you have any regrets? What do you regret?" And he said, "The murder shit." I'm sorry for the profanity, but I was quoting. He says this, it's as well, and eventually, he actually said, he regrets murdering Rich, and that's how people knew he actually confessed during an interview. And some people may have suspected him, but they're not really sure, so it was kind of shocking. But then he explains that he shot him because Rich was lying to him about some keys. Was lying to
That's
him
where
about
you got to exactly.
yeah,
That's where you got to stop listening to the story, because the thing about it is like, I mean, I don't. Well, I'll put it to you like this: it's not too many people that's been involved in that kind of stuff that would simply accept that type of rationale. Actually, the bottom line is you killed your homeboy, dude.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
killed somebody that's like your family. Period. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
So it's like, nah,
He's trying to
you got to be
justify
a
it.
little
It's like,
extra.
yeah.
Exactly.
It's not even like he
So
stole some keys or some money from him. It's like he said he was lying to me about something. I'm like, man, man, this dude, man. But anyway, he got his karma.
Exactly.
Yeah, he got his karma. He got it. But okay, so now I want to play a second excerpt. I have the timestamp ready, so it's the same video that I've shared, but this time it's timestamp 13:39, so basically minute 13. So let me share it here and let's listen to what Chuck Morgan says.
Now, do you happen to know, and if you don't, it's fine, and
Yeah.
we'll move on. Do you happen to know, because I know the Nuwabians are not unlike a lot of other cults, right? And what happens is that the cult leader has to keep updating the doctrine.
Right.
Like they'll have these prophecies that's supposed to end on such and such date, and this is supposed to happen, and all these different things. But then when it doesn't happen, they kind of update their
Absolutely. And he
doctrine.
definitely did that.
Now, do you know how many incarnations? Because I know the Nuwabians went through several name changes and like personas between 1970 and 1990. I don't want to go past 1990 just yet, but between 1970 and 1990, do we know how many incarnations they went through?
Well, that was the thing. It didn't start to change until after Bilal Phillips's book that came out in
Can
1989.
you explain what that book is?
Okay,
for people who may not-
real fast. The book was called The Ansar Cult in America by Bilal Phillips. And what it was designed to do was expose the Ansars in America as being a fallacious Islamic organization or front-like organization that the leader used as a hustle.
Was Bilal
That's
white?
essentially what it is, huh?
Was he white? What was Bilal's makeup?
Bilal Phillips, he was a black man, a West Indian, as York would call him. So yeah, and he put that publication out, and he had several other people who were ex-members of the organization, men and women, who gave their history of the organization with their time spent within the organization around York and some of the things that they saw. And he exposed things like the welfare fraud, various things.
You're saying welfare fraud and all of that from 1970 to 1990 that was already occurring?
Well, around about the 80s, I'm not sure exactly when he started, taking people's money in terms of you had to turn in the welfare checks, all that stuff. Because by the time we came in around 89, they were still doing it. So there was no history as to when it started. But from what I do know is that when you came in, the ladies had to get on welfare. The food stamps. The idea was that when you have food stamps, we buy in bulk. So everyone is taken care of. So you turn over the welfare checks, you turn over the money goes to whatever. It goes to the office. And that takes care of this, that, whatever expenses are needed within the organization. That's where that money goes for. That's your obligation as a sister. And of course, the sisters had jobs, chores, and things that they did. But primarily, that was one of them. The welfare.
So let me.
So that's what I wanted people to hear. It's very similar to what we've heard about the Black Hebrew Israelites, ISUPK and other groups. Now, one thing I almost forgot to mention that name, Rayful Edmond, who was from DC as well, or at least did his thing in DC. And I watched a documentary, and if
Now
I'm not
he's
mistaken,
from DC.
yeah,
He's
he's from
from
DC.
DC.
Yeah, and I watched a documentary about him. He was really getting that major paper, and they said, if I'm not mistaken, it was his documentary. That was years ago that I've seen it. Probably a decade ago, and they said he managed to smuggle a pizza in prison. I mean, you have to imagine, a pizza, So
Yeah,
DC,
yeah. Oh no.
yeah.
They said he might even got bigger in prison.
That Siri came up again. I don't know. I wish I wish I can deactivate that Siri stuff. Somebody knows how to deactivate Siri. Please tell me how to do it, because every now and then, Anyway, so yeah, the welfare fraud. I forgot which term exactly Layla Wills used, but that's what some groups do, and you have to understand that if some people have a model of getting that paper like that fraudulently, cheating the system, if they all do it, I'm talking about groups,
They got
organizations.
that model, right?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
model, they got it. It's not only these black cults that utilize that model. It's actually that's a model that's big in New York, period, with some of these religious groups, so-called. I mean, I know that when I was living in New York, the big thing out of Brooklyn you would hear about with like some Hasidics was is that they wouldn't be married on paper either. And some of the wives, while one dude might own a factory, the wife might actually be on welfare,
Mm-hmm.
living in public housing, and he might live in public housing too. Like it's like it's that fraud type of fraud is big, and it's they didn't invent that model, is what I'm saying. Basically,
Yeah.
they got
Yeah.
it from outside of the black community and just employed it.
Hasidic, for those who don't know, that's Hasidic Jews. All right. So you can look it
Yeah.
up online. Hasidic Judaism, and it's spelled like this. Hasidic is spelled this way. If they all do it, they aren't gonna, trip on it or talk bad about it because that's their model. That's how they get their bread. You know what I'm saying? But on top of the welfare, Chuck Morgan mentioned the term, well, you pronounce it chores, right?
You talking about tides?
No, no, hold on. It's spelled like this. I used to pronounce it chores, but I think he pronounced it chores. Basically, tasks that you have to do like in the
Oh,
household.
chores. Yeah, tasks.
Chores, yes,
Right.
chores. So he said that the sisters were doing the welfare thing. Some of them were working and having chores to do. So it's like it's been a long time that they were using women to basically do it all. You know what I'm saying? And
It's
giving up
female
the money.
slavery, man. It's
Yeah,
female
yeah.
slavery, really, man. I just call it slavery at this point because it is true. They don't control the economy. They don't really have rights. Somebody else is telling them what their rights are, and these are not the rights of the land. They're going by some cult rights, and their job is to bring in. If they have a job, sure, work that job, but you ain't controlling the money. um and even more, if you don't have a job, hey, they know how to work that. You're going to be on welfare, and they're going to take that money. They're going to work it however they need to work it, but they're going to get that money and take that money, and they're going to be split, sending some of that money up the chain, of command. And it's just exploitation of women, man. Anytime women aren't part of the decision group deciding what their own fate equally, then and obviously, when was the last time you seen a general or a captain or anything like that in these groups? You see, it's like it's not typical. They split them up. They segregate them. So yeah, man. Oh, your audio's off, Shaka.
Thank you. Love Me for wrote, same in Cali, living in Hancock Park, and she said, referring to some Hasidic groups. And I forgot that her sister is from Cali. Chief X is over there, you know what I'm saying? Chief X, soon to be representative of Kemet in California. But,
I
I
mean,
want people,
welfare fraud is welfare fraud,
yeah, yeah.
basically, and so people just that's just something typical almost, man.
Mhm. And I want people to know something. The influence of Malachi York, um, Jay-Z, those who don't know his mentor is called Jazzo. Now, when Jazzo went to London to record his first album, he took Jay-Z with him. There's even pictures of that, you see. And this may be this may be the first music video where Jay-Z appeared uh, as a contributor. So the music video is called The Originators. They are both rapping very fast. You see, now, I'm not going to put the audio because I don't want to get some copyright stuff. But this is the music video here. Now, at the end, you see that the Nubian whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
That's Jazzo
Mm-hmm.
here. That's Jazzo
Mm-hmm.
here. He has the crescent
The
and
Ansar
the
Temple was
star.
in Brooklyn.
Exactly. You see, And on top of that, you know, there it is. That's a picture of Malachi York in the music video. I'm not saying that Jay-Z was a Nubian, but Jay-Z's mentor was a
Oh,
Nubian.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Facts, facts. No question about it. And these well, I don't think the reality of it is that Malachi York had a broad sphere of influence. Um, and but I think overall, not to give him too much credit, although he's prolific in everything, although he's prolific, you know, I would just put the real creditor is just the fact that our community is we're African Americans, descendant of slaves, missing our culture, missing a lot of our history, and yearning to fit in, to find a place of our own in a space where we're rejected from everything. But on top of that, we're not really connected directly to our true history. So these people take advantage of that. And Malachi York was prolific in that. He found a place in that emptiness to fill, so he had a large sphere because you could see he could switch up things. I mean, through religion, I mean, he could switch up and add different elements of different religions anytime he wanted to, anytime it fit what they had to do. So, I mean, I would give the credit to the people that enslaved our asses. They deserve the credit because they're the ones that created the gap and the emptiness,
Yeah.
where people like this could come in and have be and it was fertile ground for these kind of people, basically.
And I like the way you worded it, that emptiness, because for a very long time, um, that emptiness was filled with mythology or religion. You know, some people say, we the original Arabs, we the original Hebrews, we the original Christians. Jesus was black, Moses was black, Muhammad was black. But now we have people
Identity
who
crisis.
identity crisis,
Identity
exactly.
crisis.
Identity
Yeah.
crisis, I agree. But now we have people feeling that emptiness with scholarship. And when I say scholarship, I mean with facts, because everybody has teaching, some people will call it scholarship. But when we talk about Kemet, we do have the artifacts. We're not speculating, and we do have the language. So we are reading the text. Those who are able to read it, we have attestation. We know what we're talking about. We're not speculating. You know what I'm saying? And those people did leave for the most part. And once again, people love to touch on the religion when it comes to Kemet rather than touching on the actual people who lived. The whether it's the rulers, the nobles, the priests, or the workers. Because just like I shown yesterday, we have mentions of the worker. The guy who did not turn up for work because he was um he got drunk with his friend Kunsu. I mean, friend or co-worker,
Hmm.
but they say he got drunk with Kunsu, and the other one did not go to
Hmm.
work because his mother was sick. And it's kind of far remote from the tale of the horrible Egyptian enslaving people. You wouldn't expect that in a slave society, people could be off work. And there's also mention of strike. You see, on this book, there's
Right.
a mention of a strike. I've addressed also another mention of a strike, and because people did not get paid. So
Right.
in a slaving society, it's very unlikely that workers will go on strike. But our people believe the
I
fairy
mean,
tales more than the historical facts. But go ahead, Bennett.
right. No, absolutely. I mean, the people that insist that Kemet had slaves, or that slavery was typical to Kemet, to where they built these pyramids, or they filled in a missing vacuum of labor. The reality of it is that Africa didn't have a labor vacuum. So I mean, these are like they didn't have a anything vacuum. So they didn't have a food vacuum, they didn't have a vegetation vacuum. They didn't have an animal life vacuum. They didn't have, and therefore they also did not have a labor power vacuum, because people eat plants and animals. You know, they didn't have a water vacuum in Kemet. They had fresh water running right through the middle of it. I mean, you know, I mean, so these things that create labor vacuums, they revolve around a lack of food supplements and supplies. You know, so how you going to breed babies when you lack food and fresh water? You see what I mean? Drinking water, and food. You know, so it just don't make any sense when they come at it. So they're basically lying. You know, now, and when you go to when you start breaking it down and you point to the facts of like they had labor strikes, person didn't come to work that day because they were sick and all that. Well, you showing it that, okay, in fact, now you know that these are employees. These are leaning towards employees, right? State sponsored work. There's a difference from state sponsored work. Even if you're coming there just to get a certain amount of food, that's still state sponsored work. That you have a right. If you get sick, you have a right to stay home, and you get help. You get sent to a doctor because they're like, okay, well, this guy got a toothache. Let's go fix that toothache, man, and get him back on there. Or this person's, you know, come on, you know. So, but the main thing is there wasn't a labor shortage. So if you want to insist that this is about slaves, then you have to go in and really prove it. And part of that is to prove there's a labor shortage. You know, where does it come from? Why would there be a labor shortage in Kemet? Where does that come from? There wasn't a shortage of anything else. So maybe they might try to say that the grains didn't get grown one day or something like that. Yeah, well, the grains in other places ain't get grown either one day. So, I mean, you know, it's like they just don't really have any clear arguments, man. You know, what makes Kemet great is that it sat on the edge of a lush environment of trade, rich with trade, you know, of all types, minerals, animals, and vegetables, you know, and fruits. You know what I'm saying? And so they evolved. The culture evolved from that. They didn't have to run around looking for food, so they could figure out how to do other stuff like build a building. You know, they could figure out how to do other stuff. Study the stars. You can't do these things if you're lacking food. You don't have the time to. So, I mean, they just at a loss, really. Scientifically, they're at a loss. But go ahead, brother. Sorry.
No, no, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, you see, uh, there's a saying in French which goes, "Le hasard fait bien les choses." Hasard is like a hazard, like luck, chance. You know, like we might say, I met him or I crossed path with him by hazard. I mean, we use the word hazard. It's like when you say I crossed path with him by chance or by luck. And so le hasard fait bien les choses means luck or chance uh, makes things right. But you might have an equivalent in English actually. Let me see if you have an equivalent. Le hasard fait bien les choses English. Oh, chance will have it apparently. Apparently, chance will
By
have it.
chance.
Chance will have it. Hold on. Or as luck will have it. Yeah. As chance will have it, you know.
Yeah,
But
by
anyway,
chance.
yeah. But anyway, I was saying that I don't know how to remove the the stuff, but here I just happened to click a button and it's removed now, so it's even better, you know. But anyway, just so that people can see, that's the book that I talked about yesterday when I was talking to the good brother, uh, um, Too Real, you know. I might as well say Too Real, you know. But here you have the name of the author. See, Richard Parkinson. Oh, anyway, there it is, Richard Parkinson, and you can see the title: Pocket Guide to Ancient Egyptian Hieroglyphs: How to Read and Write Ancient Egyptian. So I think it was page 70 something, but I remember, hold on, 79 or something. Now, okay. So page 78, that one is 79. So obviously the previous one is 78. So I should be able to zoom in. Okay, well, I don't know how I got the. Oh, you double click. Okay, it's that simple. You double click. Okay, so the zoom is, hold on. Can you? There it is. That thing is nice. So one of these notes is a list of who was off work from the work gang in the year 40 of Ramses II, 1250 BC. We know that one man called Penub was off one day because his mother was ill. And you see, they put that in quotation, which means that this is what the text says. While another called Penduau was off because he was drinking with Konsu. Once again, this is in not in quotation. I don't know if I said parentheses earlier here, but this is in quotation mark. So it means this is what the text actually says. Drinking with Kunsu. Their names are written from right to left in a column down the right with the dates they were off work. Their excuses are written above in red ink. Red ink is often used to highlight certain words. A papyrus tells how 3 workers went on strike because they had not received their wages on time. Now, not 3 workers, my bad. These workers went on strike because they had not received their wages on time. Now, this author is a PhD for the record. See? Now, in the back cover, it says Dr. Richard Parkinson is an expert on Egyptian writing. He's an assistant keeper in the department. To get the menu out so you can see it.
I mean, they discovered these things like 20, 30 years ago, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, a
people
long
been
time.
writing about this stuff for some time, you know. So I don't know why these guys had never heard of this or don't trust it. If it wasn't true, it would have been disproven a while ago. Don't they know how many religious scholars there are out there that would have loved to be able to disprove it? 30
Yeah.
years is a long time to not have disproven it in the scientific community or in the theological community, if even just based on that. You know, there's invested interest in this stuff. So I mean, you know, I don't understand these guys, man.
But our people, they are so trapped into this Abrahamic belief system. They are not dealing with history. They're dealing with theology. And you know, a noteworthy thing. It's the first time that I see writer as a translation for sesh. Usually is scribe, but you know, there's not a huge difference. You know, and here, that's page 79, as you can see. Hold on, there's no focus here. I don't know
Shaka,
why.
that
Yes.
people should be thanking you right now because you know I read about this stuff 30 years ago, and so I just took it for granted. I just haven't revisited the stuff. But you actually made an effort to preserve this stuff and bring it forth again for people in the proper manner. You know, so people should thank you for that, man. Even myself, I need a reference for what I heard 30 years ago because I don't remember it off the top of my head. You know.
Yeah, and indeed, but you know, for those who want to support, you know, it's always the same thing. You do have the Cash App, you do have the PayPal, and you even have the super chat, super sticker that can be done. And for the record, like I
But
told you,
you,
brother,
Mr. Frenchy, you know,
yeah,
but you, Mr. Frenchy, so we can't do that. We can't do that, you know.
but I bought that stuff. Um, oh, it's film. Yeah, obviously it's filming that the Magi stuff that I have on. But this is what I bought in order to share um from the books because as you know um because of my background, which is a virtual background, by the way. I don't have a how do you call it, green screen or green sheet. Whenever I show a book, like if I do that, you know, we will not be able. And even if we could see, you know, if I go like that, you know, it's going to be too small. So this is very convenient. But you know, later on when there'll be more people, we will be able to go to some books and deal with the meta nature and stuff like that. You know, it takes time. But anyway, hold on, I'm just going to try to zoom in here. Okay, now there's a focus. So it says here, a large flake of limestone from Kenya Chef's village with a list of absences from work. You see, and furthermore, it says, hold on.
Your audio went off, bro.
Oh, okay. And now can you hear me?
Yeah, it's on now.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for telling me. So, what I was just reading here that this is the large flake of limestone. You have the name of the village. It's a bit difficult for me to pronounce, and there's a list of absences from work. And here, still on page 79, it says some of the most famous letters to survive from ancient Egypt were written in the reign of Senusret the first. Now, usually, you will see Sesostris, which is the Greek way. Around 1910 BC by a priest called Hekanacht. Now when you have the KH, really it's the H sound, but so those who know the Mednecher can at least dissect one of the word in that name, Heka. And remember, Hyksos is the Greek version of Heka Haset or Heka Hasut, you see. Now, he lived in the north of Egypt, but worked as a funerary priest at the tomb of the vizier Epi at Der el Bahri near Thebes. Now, Thebes is the Greek way. The original name is Waset. Sitting in a small
Audio went off. It's clicking in and out. Why did that happen?
Well, maybe the battery should not be low. I charged it before. Yes, 28%. I really don't know why it does that. I mean, that headset is brand new. Maybe it's the
on.
cable.
It's on now anyway. Yeah. Who knows?
Maybe it's I actually had the cable on the USB dongle. Maybe it was that. But thank you for telling me, brother. So
yeah.
And is he still going in and out now, or?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. So I was at sitting in a small nearby tomb. He wrote a sequence of letters. He had all the letters ready to give to a messenger to take north when, it seems, some people arrived to bury someone in a tomb. Hekanacht's letters were accidentally buried in the rubble and were still there 4,000 years later when the tomb was excavated in AD 1921 and 1922. You see, so it was excavated actually 1922 was excavated a century ago. That's something.
Yeah, that is. And you know what? People should think about why that's possible in Egypt versus when we start talking about, well, why can't we find more stuff in sub-Saharan Africa down in the lush area, and these people say these things that they don't even realize what they're saying when they're saying it, but it's the environment that preserved it. It's dry, but yet not burning dry, fire dry. It's just dry, so it preserved it. You might find something in the ice one day too. You might find it out there in the polar caps one day, because the ice can preserve things like that, certain things, right? But a bone, for example, but in sub-Saharan lush environments, you might not be able to preserve, the longer the time goes, these kind of things just tend to not get preserved the same way. They don't, because it becomes the nature eats it back up, takes it back in faster,
Exactly, and scholars do say that. For those who don't know, I'm a student of Egyptology at the university, and in some of our lessons, they stress that the weather was extremely favorable for preservation of very old artifacts. Whenever it's under the sand, is very favorable. So anything that's south of Kemet or ancient Egypt, or let's say Egypt, it's uh, much more
less favorable.
No. In the south, is way more preserved, or way well more preserved than the north, because the north, the marshlands, you have a lot of water. The delta
right.
area, yeah, exactly. So and they used to build with mud bricks and for the wealthiest, they will use some sort of stone, limestone, different type of rocks. And so, anything that was made of mud brick, because of the water, the marshland, this area of the delta, most of it is gone. But in the south, because like you said, it's dry, then it is way better preserved. And the thing is that in Arabia and in Canaan, well, we know that the weather is dry as well, and we know that there's a fair bit of sand, and people have been searching, particularly the Sinai area, all over Canaan and so on. So, but then again, when they say, the same thing they may say about the sub-Saharan Africa, like people say, uh, they will also make excuses as to why we don't find anything, uh, for Moses, for Jesus, I say, well, you never know. People didn't really write like that, and stuff, was stolen, destroyed. But it's really conjecture. Um, but I'm sure we will get some clarity. I'm sure. But the sad thing is that someone like Butler Reggie, who's gonna, uh, because you mentioned the slavery, V. Bennett. Butler Reggie was in here capping for the Hebrews, or like talking about slavery in ancient Egypt, and I read some of the comments that he left. I mean, I don't. That guy is just so weird. It's so weird, but he is really pseudo and lame. He is pseudo. He doesn't stand for anything. He doesn't stand.
I can't even understand it. I can't understand it because they said people. If he said he studied under Dr. Ben, I mean, I wouldn't be able to understand it. I wouldn't be able to understand his comments because, yeah, the stuff we're even discussing is not like the thing about environment. That's not new to Dr. Ben. That's not something foreign to Dr. Ben. So I don't understand what the holdup is with Reggie and a lot of his views.
But
I just think he make a fool out of himself.
he does. He does. And the sad thing with Reggie is that he makes personal issues a scholarly discussion. And I almost forgot the Mighty Hebrew. The first time I saw him, he was on Saneta's channel. I forgot if he was Saneta 7. He said that he still has that account, but he forgot his password. I looked for it, I couldn't see it, but it was a Mighty Hebrew showing a picture from some tomb in Kemet, and we see workers with blocks, and he said those are the Hebrews enslaved in Kemet. So of course I made a video refuting that, and a fair bit of Hebrew Israelites do claim that. I even shared one website where we
know what it is?
Yeah, it's a tomb of record.
They have they have these what they do is they have these books that are pseudo books that are made by people that are not, it's not from the scientific community or anything like that. So they make these things up and they teach these things in their temples behind closed doors. You see all these books, they might pull out a book telling you King James was black. Yeah, look at the picture. And then they got a bunch of pictures in there. One picture look black is because of the type of black and white imagery they're showing you. One looks a little darker, one look, but none of this stuff is coming from the scientific community. And then when you bring it out into the light, all of a sudden into the world of scholarship and science, it doesn't. No one can make those arguments. No one's making those arguments out there in the science community. So, and they're indeed the only ones really making the argument in the theology area. At that they're the only ones making these arguments. But there are, ironically, some others that do make these arguments, and the only people that I've ever seen that make an argument to have anything to do with Jews building the pyramids in Egypt, guess who that is? Shaka? Guess who that is? That's Masons. That's Masons. That's like Masons like George Washington, the Masonic Temple of George Washington, and these type of Masons. They make that argument because they have imagery like that inside of their temples. But is that the scientific community? No. You see, that's that Masonic cult stuff that they teach. And like I said before, anyone's entitled to believe whatever they want. And by the way, there's a lot of cool stuff in there, interesting stuff you could learn. That is in that you, but that's just not one of the things you're going to walk away with that is going to be factual, you know. So but it's ironic that they make that claim. It's just so ironic. That's the only other place I've seen it, man.
Yeah, and here, for example, this is on the right here. Actually, I can share another page. Um, yeah. See,
Except in the Masonic temple, the people ain't black. The Jews ain't black.
so those
That's
the things that till this day, you have like ICPK and most Hebrews will like to claim that the Hebrews are black, including Zion Lex and all these people. I mean, I'm not saying any names like that to cause drama, but that's what they've been teaching publicly. But Benny Hassan's painting is very instrumental, and we have other depictions of Asiatics, of Hyksos, actually, and the Hyksos, like I've shown, the British Museum says that they are of Palestinian descent, and even Encyclopedia Britannica says that they are of Palestinian descent. So Palestine, that's Canaan. You know what I'm saying? So that's really game over. But those guys are, continuing with the falsehood. Not to say the lies.
Well, I think I don't understand their argument because I mean, from my perspective, right? From and I have some sources. I could go to them at some other point. I'm just relaxing right now. But if somebody want to challenge that point, I could go to them. But from my perspective, there is nobody that ever said that Hebrew people were one people. They were not in the beginning. They're different groups of people. They were even fighting each other at times, but not just different, like two groups, multiple groups. And in fact, as you've been pointing out, they didn't even have a religion put together in the beginning. Hebrew comes before even the religion. You see?
Hebrew.
You got to ask yourself, what religion were they practicing? Where did they get the? So
yeah, that's why I like to use the term Canaanite, because when you say Hebrew in history, I always been asking people, how far does that go back?
Right.
We have mention
Exactly.
of Israel, and we were talking with the brother Gideon. We have mention of Israel. We don't have mention of any word that is translated as Israelite. You know what I'm saying? So even the term Hebrew in history, that's that. How far does that go back? You know what I'm saying? Those guys in Canaan themselves, they were not even calling themselves Hebrews.
And ironic, if I was a Hebrew, I would be choosing a completely different debate. That's what I don't get about them. They choose the debate that goes in a whole nother direction. It's like they say that it just doesn't make sense, man. But I'm not trying to help them or give them no talking points.
Yeah, but
I could recommend a book to them, though. I could recommend a book. I'll do it again. Jesus, the Egyptian priest? ? I recommend that book to them and see what they get out of that. But I don't, hey.
But I'm gonna be see this book here. Hold on. Well, it's okay. I think you'll not be able to see, but okay.
No, we can't see. We can't see that. Yeah. Put it on the other one if you can.
Well, no, I'm gonna be done. I have too many books to go through right now, but eventually I'll go through it. But for the record, this on the screen. Oh yeah, I can hear the sound, so my battery is low, but hopefully it should be okay. I'm taking the battery of the headset. So, on the right it says first recorded strike in history, 1159 BC. The first recorded strike in history began when necropolis workers in ancient Egypt refused to continue working after going 18 days without pay. The first recorded strike in history took place. Okay, that's the same thing it says. I think we mentioned. Okay, there it is. So, the artisans of the royal necropolis at Deir el Medina organized an uprising. The event, which took place under the rule of Pharaoh Ramses III, was recorded in detail on the papyrus that dates from that time. Edgerton William, The Strikes in Ramses III's 29th Year, Journal of Near Eastern Studies, 1951. All right. So you have some references here. Now, if it wasn't that exact depiction that the Mighty Hebrew has shown then, when I first saw him on Sandra's channel, then it may have been hold on, that one here. But I think it's the same. It's just that the painting. Some people may have done some reproduction, but I refuted the Mighty Hebrew when he's shown that depiction, and later
You
on,
should
Mighty
add that to your name. You should
add
add
what?
that to your name. The mighty Shaka Ndugu. Komet. You
Yeah.
should add.
Well, if I do that, they will say, I'm naming myself, like copying him. But for him to have such a name, it's quite ironic knowing his background. But he's free to choose whatever name he wants for himself. But the thing is that he left a comment on my video, and he said, I actually replied to you, but Sanetta didn't put it up. So I don't know why Sanetta didn't put it up then, but it is what it is. He does whatever he wants. But that being said, I want people to see the book that I have. Hold on. I have to go there. Okay, I have to rotate. Share now so people can see. Share. So
Did you? I think you. Oh, okay. There you go. I can hear you now. Yeah,
yeah,
text, artifact, and image.
yeah, revealing ancient Israelite religion. And you can see it was edited by Gary M. Beckham and Theodore J. Lewis. Now, if people pay attention to my intro, the short intro, I show the Masoretic text, and I show also another book, and this is the guy Theodore J. Lewis when he talks about air getting so drunk that he fell in his own feces and urine.
Mhm.
So at the bottom you have Brown Judaic Studies. So you basically have depictions. Most of the time though they do line drawings. But here, for example, you have an artifact. It looks like the Merenpeta stele, but no, it's not. It's the Metternich stele. But a lot of time you have this, because it costs so much paper if you want to show the originals. Here you have an original here, but a lot of time you will have
Mhm.
a line drawing, you know. Okay, like this here, for example. So the brother V. Bennett was
Mhm.
talking about them not being unified as a group and having several, religion, and it's a reality. They were polytheistic, those deities that you hear about in the Bible, Baal and Astarte and stuff like that. That's what they used to worship. You know what I'm saying? And there
It's
were
true.
surely plenty others. So
And I don't know why they run away from this, because this has been this has not ever been refuted in how many decades? It's just common knowledge. Oh, I'm sorry, Shaka. Can I hear you?
no, it's okay. Yeah, I hear you. Can
Yeah,
you hear me?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is
I don't know why they
this is
haven't,
just
why they
common
don't
knowledge.
cite this stuff. Yeah, I don't know
Well,
what, it's common knowledge, really. And I mean, in regards to this topic,
what
right?
they want to do,
The
brother,
people.
they want to stick to the Bible. They want to just read the Bible. When they claim that the Hebrews were black, they would do some. They would talk about Ham. You know what I'm saying, and his descendants. You know what I'm saying, but it's
Mm,
theological. It's not historical. You know what I'm saying. And I wish
right.
those elders, I wish those elders would set the record straight about that, because I know some of those elders have been teaching that. You know what I'm saying. At one point, I believed that years back. You know what I'm saying. You know, but
Right.
but but then you live and you learn. You know what I'm saying. You cannot
You
make a
should.
genealogy. Yeah, you cannot make a genealogy out of a theological book. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. And once again, we have attestation of those Asiatics, of these Canaanites, of these Hyksos. Probably even about the Hapiru. That some people are trying to claim. Hebrew derives from Hapiru or Haparu. The linguistic.
And and I would even, go as far as to say that they really they're dissing the people who are alive today, who are related to those people, like flat out. You know what I'm saying? Like flat out. They don't have any clue about if they want to know the people that live in the region in Northeast Africa, right? if they want to know about these people, Ethiopians, Eritreans, and also Sudanese people, this kind of thing. When they go to this pseudo thing, they're literally dissing these people flat out. Because, by the way, these people also had prior beliefs. You see, and they're dissing the history of the Middle East also. The actual real history of the Middle East, just flat out dissing. And there's people alive today that are related to those groups of people. Sure, they may have migrated a little bit south, a little bit to the left, a little bit to escape whatever they had to flee. But those people, their descendants still live. And they just flat out dissing them. I don't, it's sad, man. It's sad.
Brother V. Bennett, sometimes they will quote scholars. I'm talking about the Hebrew Israelites or any person that's into some Asiatic theology, whether it is, the black Christians, the black Hebrew Israelites or black Jews or the black Muslims. They will quote scholars every now and then to try to give themselves some legitimacy. But everybody's free to ask those scholars whether Hebrews, whether Hebrews black, where the Canaanites black, and if they talk about the people of Arabia, where the Arabs black, and that's what's amusing to me. I mean, those guys still in 2023 teaching that, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons why I caught a lot of heat. When I said that those people, those Canaanites were white, even back 10 years ago, when I made a video, White Semites Black Awakening, the Amara squad went at me, you know what I'm saying? Pretending that, they were in disagreement with my sense, but really it was more than that. It was also because I disagree with the Nation of Islam anti-African teaching, anti-black teaching, and I've quoted it for years. Africans are living a jungle life. Africans are not civilized. And we heard Farrakhan talking about how black people are marked and disfigured, and that our physical appearance is the essence of ugliness, So it was a bit twofold. But back then, hey, that's what happened. They made so many videos dissing me. They even flagged my accounts. I lost accounts. All of that because I stated that the Semites were white. They were not black. And I did not just say it. I did not just say it because I woke up one day and like, oh well, I feel like they were not black. I showed the artifacts. So that
they don't. That's true. I feel you, brother. They mangling up different groups of people, and that's the thing. And it's not even necessary. It's not even necessary because you don't have to. They don't. They should be proud of the fact that, wait a second, there's people that exist today that contributed to the legacy of those regions in so many different ways. And it may be, and they just don't want to. They don't want to say that it's like you said, that they're Sabians, or that they're, they don't want to say that they had a different belief before this. They don't want to say that they're converts to Judaism, or converts to Islam, or converts to Christian. And they don't want to even, if you don't say that they're converts in a way, then you can't even see what they were able to contribute as converts. Then you become blind to that also. Now, and a lot of those people did contribute something as converts, but they did, if you can't admit one thing, then you can't even get to the second part that might have some beauty in it. You see, that's what I don't get. It's like, it's not even necessary, but they just don't want to, they just got to hold on to something that I say it's just anti-black, like you say, it's anti-black, because we're not superheroes. We're not superheroes. We're human beings like everybody else. So we win some and we lose some. But when we lose some, we should acknowledge it and acknowledge where we pick the pieces up at too. For a lot of people, converting was a way to survive. That doesn't mean they converted like everybody else. You see what I mean? They might have held some of their history within that conversion too, just like in Mali. You see what I mean? Just, but come on, man. These guys are playing games with people, and I really wish people would just drop it. Just drop it, because it is literally a waste of time what they're doing.
It is a waste of time. And I'm sorry. You have the link right now in the chat called White Semites Black Awakening. It is not the most entertaining video. I'm aware of that, but I show artifacts from around 2500 BC until like 700, so all through millennia, the phenotype, the physical appearance of the Semites, the people of the Levant, of Mesopotamia, Sumer, Akkad, it is consistently, it is consistent. Those people were white skinned Caucasoids, and when I say white, I don't mean white like a Danish person or somebody from Germany or Denmark or Sweden. Sorry, but they were Caucasoids. You see, it is consistent. And the ancient Egyptians are very good at sight. They were very skilled. I don't see why they would get it wrong when they painted those individuals. We have several paintings of them, but because people disregard Kemet, they're not paying too much attention to these depictions. But the thing is that on Sinaitic's platform, not only they invite convicted rapists on a regular basis and supporters of convicted rapists, but they keep inviting those people who don't share information. They share misinformation. They keep teaching this black Semite stuff, black Hebrews or light stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Black
they add
Messianic
on to it.
Yeah, they've been doing
That's
that for
true.
years. And they have
'Cause-
the nerve to use the term scholarship. And Butler Reggie is over there with them. One time signing with them, one time try to appear like he's refuting the misinformation. I mean, I've shown how he went against me because
Well,
I did not agree with the narrative of the enslavement in ancient Egypt. And then just a few days ago, he's making a live stream like Hebrews were enslaved in Egypt. Where is your evidence? I mean, that dude is really mentally disturbed. There's something really wrong with his brain, man. It's just a sad dude. But go ahead, V. Bennett.
well, yeah, I was going to say that you correct. You can be a pedophile and a rapist without a pseudo scholarship. Pseudo theologian scholarship. You can do that. But these guys don't stop there. They want to have another element, which is anti-black, psychopathic, gaslighting, pimpology. Which is dangerous, and they want to produce people that go nutty one day and kill their one of their wives, right, or prostitute, whichever one it is. They want a guy to go ballistic and kill his family members, or they want a woman or a man to disown their family, because of Satan. You know what I'm saying? They want all of these horrible things, and when you start accepting being gaslighted, because that's what it takes to stay in that. You either become a predator or you become the one who's gaslighted, right? Because a lot of these predators, they don't believe this shit. The ones at the top don't believe this shit. You can't convince me of that. But the ones at the bottom that are actually believing this stuff are being gaslighted, and the problem with that is that they're believing, they're internalizing some of this stuff, the victimization, their own victimization. They're internalizing it and blaming themselves for it. So they become mentally disturbed because of that later.
Yeah,
You see,
and
and
I'm
that's
glad you said that. And it's not difficult not to end up mentally disturbed when you have some people who support actively child molesters, rapists, who have anti-African teaching. They celebrate the death of Africans. They say that Martin Luther King ain't that the Bible deserves. The Bible says he deserves to die. You know what I'm saying? They have some treatment of women which indeed is closer to pimpology or prostitution than
the
anything else.
gaslighting element.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Getting their money, not helping them, beating them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just weird. But those guys get all the respect. You know what I'm saying? On those channels, on those platforms, then they have the nerve to try to make us look crazy. But now all of this is backfiring. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're not built for it. They're not built for it because Sanetta, I don't know if he told his audience that he did 2 copyright claims against me, and he was rejected by YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So that's a huge error. That's a huge defeat. You know what I'm saying? He chose to allow those people on his platform to invite. I just like 2 days ago, he called on Mighty Hebrews. Hey, Mighty Hebrew, come in. See, still, he's not learning. That's a choice he made. He had time to think about it. So if he wants to go that route, he can go that route, and we'll see what's going to happen on the trial of Brother Polite.
I mean, when he doesn't address those things, he looks even more stupid because people find out, when he says that the N word Frenchy, people go to say, who's Frenchy? Let me go find out. And, the bottom line is he had a choice. He had a choice and he made his choice. That's just what it is. And, it's just the way it's going to be. He made his choice. So he can't, it's too late for him to back out. It's too late. So he going to go down with that ship, and it doesn't matter what it looks like or what happens, what is revealed. I'll give you an example of what I mean. If you find out all of a sudden that some woman who came on his platform and met one of those guests just got her head chopped off, right? What's Jabari going to say? What's Jabari going to say? You see, maybe she say, "Oh, I found out about HOK through Jabari, and then when I came on there, then I met the mighty Hebrew Israelite, and then I got, something happened." So these guys, they have to start thinking this way. Oh well, they all ain't going to do it, but the ones that have any integrity must begin to understand that they have to make a choice, and otherwise. You can't, in my view, you can't really claim to be about family or community or things like this. It's just there's no scholarship there, and the people that do have any sense of scholarship should not continue to uphold that platform by making their presence available. Because it is serious. It's serious. There's no need why you need to be debating somebody from an organization that's on the FBI watch list. Come on, let alone all of these things. There's enough for people that they should already know there's just too much harm going on with some of these people. You see what I mean? So, and that's not to blanket everybody or anything like that, because as you hear, there's some that come on there and say, "Hey, man," they say you can have these people in your group. They say you can rape, you could take a girl's flower at this age. Okay, clearly, if you disagree with that, you're a step ahead of the rest. There is a distinction that you're making. So, that's good. That's a good distinction to make. But at the same time, just your presence alone validates the others. And they should be able to see the difference in that,
Well, I mean, they do what they want, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even tripping on people being over there. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be like signing they're all paranoid, But um, sometimes in life, what you are proud of today is what you are ashamed of tomorrow. And a lot of time we are young, we may not have so much respect for our elders. We may not treat some people right, and I'm not talking about raping and molesting children. And then we grow up, we think about it, damn, I don't like the way I spoke to that person. I don't like the way I spoke to that elder. You know what I'm saying? You know, but now, it's like those things are not allegations. Those guys went to prison for raping. You know what I'm saying? We heard their teachings. We heard them say that they celebrate the death of Africans. We've seen Asa, Frenchy gave them all the respect in the world. You know what I'm saying? We heard Sa saying that Polite scammed him of over $10,000. We heard him say that Polite scammed women and children. That he robbed women and children. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many other things that we have covered, and there's more that we will learn anyway. When Uncle Shug will be back, I'm sure because he didn't even have time. He did not even have time to prepare the videos then. But when he will have time, I'm sure he will bless us with a lot of exclusives. So it's a matter of integrity. It's up to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even tripping. I do what I got to do. I do what I feel is right. And
how you going to have a community? How you going to have a community where you say when we're talking about somebody being a pedophile, or you talking about some working with some organizations that have some complete different problems, right? That are just as dangerous. How you going to say, well, that's that man. That ain't my problem. Whoa, like that problem that they're having affects your community. So you can't claim to be about community and even state something like that. Well, that's that man. That's not anything about community. Then that means you don't have a community. That's what that means. When
Well,
you know,
but Butler Reggie may have an answer for that because he claims that he's down with the community. He has his Black City plan that nobody's following anyway. But how are you going to be 56, 57, and you don't speak out on that? I never heard the dude, Butler Reggie criticizing rapists and child molesters, particularly those who are invited on Sanada's platform. You know what I'm saying? The organization that support their convicted child molester members. But Reggie has the time to diss so many people, including myself. But when it comes to the rapists, I haven't heard Reggie having any criticism, and he's not even realizing that he's looking like a damn fool. I mean,
what's so hard? What's so hard about saying I don't want to be associated with that, so I'm not going to go there because they're associating themselves with people that do things like that.
But
What's wrong with that?
Even if he goes there, because that's not going to stop me from sleeping. It's not going to affect my life. But how come he has the energy to diss me and other people? He's been dissing Jabari for more than 2 years. He's been dissing me for a little while. I always had the clap back for him. But why doesn't he have any energy for people who abuse children sexually? I found that very, very strange. Very strange. But then again, the dude is pseudo anyway, so it is what it is. Now, the amusing thing also that I heard.
Hey, but look.
Yeah.
What are the chances? I mean, you just tell me this, Shaka. Like I said, this is the third time I'm saying this. I usually, every once in a while, my daughter comes around and shit. If she sees me looking at the phone, she might take a look. Or at the TV, she might take a look. She's doing her own thing. What are the chances? What are the chances? What are the chances? That my daughter literally said, "What are you looking at?" And I said, "Oh, it's just something on TV." And then she said, "He looked like he snatch kids," and walked off. She's 9 years old. What are the chances? I mean, and I'm not lying. That's just what it is. And I'm a person that believes children have senses. So I don't. What father tells himself to ignore what his own child says? No, you teach the opposite. You listen to everything and try to understand.
That's an intuition, but maybe we'll find out some stuff. Who knows? Because I never thought I would have Minister Inky was very close to Sanetta, stating publicly that Sanetta was 30 years old, having a relationship, sleeping with a 15-year-old girl. I never thought so. Hey, some stuff may come up, but those guys, they have dirt on each other. You know what I'm saying? They do have dirt on each other. You see, we've seen the clip of Polite Sepp's daughter, kind of rubbing all up on him, being so close in front of people. We can imagine what it is when the people are not there. But who knows? Maybe some other people who have different type of footage. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I think we're gonna have a lot of revelations in times to come. But what we notice is that those people in the House of Consciousness, they are very comfortable being around convicted rapists, convicted child molesters. Now those are the convicted ones. How many are not convicted? You know what I'm saying? How many didn't get caught?
Exactly.
How many didn't go to trial? How many victims did not file a complaint? How many victims did not sue them? You know what I'm saying? You can only imagine, man.
It's many more. Of course, that's multiplied by who knows the number, but it's definitely multiplied by more than 2.
Yeah, at least, we're being very conservative right now, but automatically we heard their doctrine, you know what I'm saying? So we know how to get down. So, man. But anyway, I'm gonna end this live stream now. Thank you very much, V Bennett. Thank you for everybody that was
all right, Shaka.
Yeah, I know it's very early in America right now, but that clip, and I want to play it again for those who missed it.
Or you could say AD. Today, historians use the term CE.
Okay.
What do you mean when you
say so you do know the scriptures had already been written.
Brother.
Hey, hold on for 1 minute. Hold on for 1 minute. Apostle. Was you talking about me the other day on Frenchy channel, talking crazy about me?
Frenchy? Who's Frenchy?
The nigga from France.
Who is that?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know nobody from Frank's channel.
In there saying you was
Answer the
talking
question,
crazy.
Sonetta. Let's just
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Just let it go. Never mind. You didn't do it. All right, go ahead, Jabari.
So what I'm trying to explain to you.
Yes. Well, I can't sleep. What's up, Andrew Burnett? How you doing? I hope you've seen that, Andrew Burnett. I love the place to be. He can't sleep now. He's having nightmares.
Totally.
So,
Totally. That was the best exchange I heard. But that was like you have to say thank you, Sonetta. Thank you for that what do they call that?
Promotion.
It's a commercial. Huh?
Oh yeah. Promotion.
Yeah, thank you for that promotion. That was the best promotion you could get. You know? With the sweat all coming down his grill. Wait, you been talking to Mr. Frenchy, man. What you do? He's accusing his own the people on it. Man, next thing you know, it's gonna be he confusing his girlfriend. Man, you been talking to Frenchy? You been talking to was that Frenchy you talking to? It's like what the, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, I was talking to Mr. Frenchy. That's right. I was. Like, what you gonna do about it?
They know how to make him mad now. Yeah, I was on the phone with Frenchy. What you gonna do?
Exactly.
You're gonna beat me like the ICPK Israelites?
Don't make me tell Mr. Frenchy, Chynetta. Don't make me tell Mr. Frenchy. Better watch it.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh boy.
All right, man. I'm out, man. Have fun, man.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. All right. Okay. Stay safe, stay healthy. If I'm allowed to by the nature, I will definitely holler back at you. I don't argue, I state facts. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Do I to do any hotep?
Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving middle nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So, those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video, Kemet and Ma'at, Before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Neture classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know like our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Netia class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/Ma'at Forever.